My birthday is in 3 days, and I decided that I am getting very close to finishing episode 4. There's 18 chapters in total. This is going to be chapter 11, and if I average 2 a day, starting today, tomorrow, until I should be able to get them. So if I do 2 a day, I'm gonna hope I could do more than 2. Enough with talking, let's just get straight into it. Hopefully I can do more. I'm gonna aim for 2 chapters today. Hopefully I can do more. This is gonna be a very long one, an hour and a half. It was already approaching 10 at night. The typhoon had already engulfed Rokkenjima. Even the rose garden that had looked so beautiful during the day was now being beaten down upon by the fierce winds and resisting with all its might, undulating and trying to keep the flowers from blowing away. Heading for the guest house through that rose garden, led by Shannon, were Battler, who was holding up an umbrella, Jessica, and Maria, who was sleeping on George's shoulder. My boy George carrying my girl.
俺たちだけでも行けるってのに。いいんだぜ、シャノンちゃん。戻って休んでてくれよ。
いいえ、お送りするのも仕事ですので。
親族会議中はうちのお母さんとか源氏さんもピリピリしてるからな。下手に私たちが気を利かせるとシャノンがサボってると勘違いされちゃう。
そうだね。素直にお世話になった方がむしろ迷惑をかけないだろうね。ありがとう、シャノン。
いいえ、確かにお嬢様のおっしゃられます通り、今日のお屋敷はピリピリしています。だから私も皆さんとご一緒して外の空気が吸えるのでちょっと肩が楽です。
親族会議か。わざわざ俺たち子供を追い出すくらいだから相当タチの悪い話をするんだろうぜ。
だろうね。僕たちはきっと何の力にもなれない。
Dude, it's been so long since we've seen them talk to each other in the mansion. I completely forgot where we fucking left off then.
せめて邪魔をしないようにするのが一番の協力だと思うよ。
どうせまた金って話だろうぜ。
Yeah.
普段散々
Well, that's why we're here.
吹聴してるくせにいざとなったらもったいぶりやがる。
Yeah, that's true, huh? Well, that's the only reason we're here, because we want to get that sweet inheritance.
パーッと気前よくみんなで山分けすりゃいいのによ。
Well, because some of them feel like they deserve more than they're getting, I guess. Or they're just greedy.
そりゃ豪快な話だぜ。
Or maybe they don't have love.
俺にも分け前がもらえりゃいいのによ。もし俺にももらえたらそん時はシャノンちゃんにも分けてやるからな。
Oh, really?
どうもありがとうございます。お気持ちだけで嬉しいです。
シャノンは欲がないね。年頃の女の子なら買いたいものがいっぱいあるだろうに。
そうですね。でも私、欲しいものの中にお金で買えるものがありませんので。
ひゅー、無欲だな。俺なんか欲しいもん全部並べたら金がいくらあっても足りねえぜ。
お金で買えるものにはだぜ。シャノンの言う金で買えない欲しいものって何かな。ジョージ兄さんは心当たりある？
Look at her. She's fucking instigating
なん
this
だろう
shit.
ね。シャノンじゃないとわからないね。
私にもわかりま
Oh,
せん。
you stop acting like stop trying to hide it. It's an open secret at this point. George and Shannon looked down with their faces red. Battler had also heard the details, so he knew what Jessica was teasing them about.
ジョージの兄貴は俺にとっても尊敬できるお人だ。
Holy shit, it just fucking hit me. The name of this fucking chapter is called, where the fuck is it? Ushiro Miyakinzo. I fucking forgot. He said he was gonna present himself.
シャノンちゃんは本当にいい人と巡り会えたと思うぜ。
だな。私もジョージ兄さんなら安心してシャノンを任せられるぜ。
Yes, my girl, she is in good
からかうの
hands.
はよしてくれよ。
She is in my boy George. He's a little dominant. I've noticed that, right? Because he keeps pushing it.
僕たちにとっては真面目な問題なんだ。それよりジェシカちゃんの方だってどうなんだい？
Like I'm remembering how he talked to Jessica, or not Jessica, but Shannon about the ring and shit.
カノン君と少しは仲良くなれたのかい？
Yes, what's going on with that?
お前カノン君とそういう仲なのかよ。
And my boy Battler is the only one left completely alone?
汚いぜ、ジョージ兄さん。そういう話の切り返し方は汚いぜ。
Well, you're the one who started it. My boy Battler is the only one who doesn't have a love interest. As they had an animated discussion with ups and downs, the four kids headed for the guest house. Oh shit, I missed this scenario. The annual family conference was extremely important to the Ushiromiya family, and this year in particular seemed like it was going to be especially so. Apparently, the family head, Kinzo Ushiromiya, I just added his last name, was personally going to be making a very serious announcement. That motherfucker how is he gonna present himself? Are they gonna is music gonna start playing? Are the servants, is Genji gonna be walking down with some, I don't know, some robes or something? Is it gonna be like a big theatrical experience? And everyone other than the adults had been strictly ordered to leave the mansion. Not really? So the kids and the servants, they were chased out of the fucking house? It's that big a fucking deal when he leaves his room. Battler hadn't attended the family conference in 6 years, so he hadn't really noticed. But according to Jessica, there seemed to be a very tense atmosphere tonight. Completely different from a normal year. Well, yeah, that fucker. And it's very funny, the very last question arc, and this fucker finally decides to make his appearance known. Common sense made it clear that Ginzo, whose remaining life was short, was going to make some big announcement about the succession of the head and the distribution of his fortune. I'm thinking about this and the bigger chess piece, right? So they want Battler to admit in magic, but if Kinzo comes and just declares it outright, hey, this is, I don't know.
しかし驚いたな。まさか本当にじいさまが登場するとは。
Right, that's crazy.
なるほど。これが魔女の反撃というわけね。
Yes, I thought so. And who else to blindly obey Beatrice
金
with him?
蔵というジョーカーはもう少し伏せていたかったところだがそろそろ切るのが
I
頃合いだな。
fucking knew it, dude.
切り札は切るためにある。
At the worst possible time, too. Is this the worst possible time?
じいさまは最初から死んでて、その代わりに謎の18人目が紛れ込んでるっていう俺の推理は、ここに来ていきなりバッサリってわけか。
いつかはそなたが金蔵を疑いに来ることは読めておったわ。さあさあ、これでそなたの推理は再びゼロに戻ったぞ。
And it took us this long to question it.
金蔵は最初から死んでいて、その代わりにわらわが18人目として紛れ込んでいたという推理はこれでパーだ。
Shot two birds with one stone. Face ass. This bitch got my boy. Okay, she caught. That's one fucking thing. We could come up with something else. Yes.
一つの推理が外れただけだ。
Dude, no one has been fucking killed yet. We're on chapter fucking 11? We're halfway through the fucking episode.
嵐のように暴風のように襲いかかってやる。
What if nobody dies? That will be crazy. But that would be meaningless.
そうでなくてはな、そうでなくてはな。まだまだ第一の晩祭始まっていないぞ。屈服にはあまりに早すぎる。
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
そして赤き真実で否定されたわけでもない。今この瞬間の時点でまだバトラの説は破られたわけではない。
Don't give her
勝
fucking
ったつもりになるの
ideas.
も早すぎるわよ。
そうだな。確かに。あっさり鵜呑みにするにはまだ早いな。
There's no fucking way he's not suspecting she's a family member. Come the fuck on.
じいさまがいよいよ登場するということにはなってるが、やっぱり体調が悪くなったうんぬん言って現れない可能性だってある。じいさまは本当は死んでいるという事実をクラウスおじさんがギリギリまで苦し紛れで引き延ばしているだけかもしれない。
なるほどなるほど、そういう考え方もある。好きにするなよ。すぐに決着する。すぐにな。
Okay, what do you have in mind, girl? What are you gonna do? What is she gonna do? Oh, bitch, it's thundering and shit. It's raining, it's thundering. You hear that shit? The rain is pounding on the roof. Ushiromiya Kinzo is about to make his grand entrance. All of the relatives and Nanjo could be seen at the dining hall. Oh, Nanjo's here. Nanjo sat alone, quietly watching the wind and rain outside. Oh man, I fucking... Dude, I can't stop. Every time he's up here, every time he's front and center, I just laugh. I like him, dude. I fucking like Nanjo. Kraus was sitting in the seat of his own rank with Natsuki. Natsuki, my... Oh my, I love her so much. With Natsuki standing motionlessly at his side. Look at her. Look at how gorgeous she is. All the other siblings and their partners were gathered at the opposite end of the long table, whispering to each other.
そりゃ本当か。
ええ。マリアは傘をくれた人物をお父様だというの。
Dude, I was gonna fucking call it. I was gonna motherfucking call it. Dude, I was gonna say Beatrice didn't give it to her.
なんちゅうことや。
He did.
ということはつまりわしらの作戦は根底から崩れたっちゅうわけか。
作戦も何も、お父様が健在で自ら発表があると言った以上、もう兄さんとのくだらない駆け引きは一切不要だわ。
だな。くそ親父め。
Yo.
ビブらずに
Oh my
とっと現れてくれりゃよかったんだ。
Yo.
おかげで俺たちは兄貴と無駄に揉めただけだ。
Talking shit, fighting, bickering for no reason.
それを試したかったのかもね。血のつながってない私が言うのもなんだけど、あなたたちのお父様、かなり頭はいいわよ。
He's a very crafty man. He seems like he's always on
日中のやりとりは
something.
多分、使用人の誰かに聞かれて、お父様に報告されてたのよ。なんてこと。お父様の遺産が目当てで騒いでることは、もうバレバレってことじゃない。ああ、なんてことよ。
Elva held her head, uncharacteristically dejected. She's thoroughly defeated. If, as Kirie had said, this had been Ginzo's design from the beginning, a huge setup spread over more than a year in a bid to find the siblings' true natures. What? Let me read that again. A huge setup spread over more than a year in a bid to find the siblings' true nature. They had fallen for it completely.
お父さんの耳に入ったとまだ決まったわけやない。
いいえ、入ってるに決まってるわ。兄さん以外の全員がお父様は死んでいると言い切り、お父様の健在を信じなかった。ああ、もう終わりだわ。お父様は宣言するのよ。
I love this song. I love this
兄さ
atmosphere.
んこそが跡継ぎで、私たちには片翼を身にまとう資格もないと宣告するのよ。ああ、私は
姉さん、しっかり。
Oh,
Rosa-san.
Rosa, I'm not sure what to think about you, girl. After everything, she's like the most fleshed out sibling out of all of them that we know, pretty much. We know so much about her because of Maria.
マリアちゃんは本当にお父様に傘をもらったのかしら。
Well, More or less. Ava's right with her too.
どういう意味？マリアちゃんはお父様に会ったかもしれない。でも私たちは会ってないわ。マリアちゃんがそうだと主張しているだけよ。
そんな。
You're playing some mental
マリアが
gymnastics.
嘘を
Though.
ついてるというの？
落ち着けよローズ。マリアちゃんが嘘をつくとは言ってねえ。だがマリアちゃんは素直な子だろ。例えばだが源氏さんあたりがこの傘はおじい様からマリア様に渡すように言われましたみたいなことを言ったら、マリアちゃんは親父に会ったわけでなくてもおじい様に傘をもらったって言うかもしれねえぜ。
Wow. That's a good. Okay, that makes sense.
そうね。
She's a very honest girl. She's sweet. She has love.
その手が考えられるわ。
だがな、マリアちゃんはこう言ったんやろ。おじい様がやってきて傘を渡してくれたと。
Okay, and that would be different. That came part. I mean, it's pretty clear
そう言ったわ。
what she's saying.
おじい様から直接受け取ったとはっきり言ったわ。
直接か。お手上げだな。
Yeah, that's pretty cut and dry right there.
下手な考え、休むに似たりとはよく言ったものだわ。
The thinking of the incompetent can pass for sleeping?
ちょっと考えてみたら、傘がどうこうなんてどうでもいい問題だわ。
どうしてよ。マリアちゃんが兄さんに買収されて、あたかもお父様が健在であるかのように嘘を頼まれたかもしれないでしょ。傘が確かにお父様から渡されたなんて証拠、どこにもありはしない。
マリアちゃんが誰から傘をもらっていようとも、あるいは傘なんかそもそももらっていなかったとしても、お父様はもうじき現れる。現れたお父様の前に、傘の問題なんて全くどうでもいいこと。つまり、傘の問題が取り沙汰されるのは、そうでない場合ということよ。
そうでない場合ってのは何のことだ。
そうか。キリエさんが言いたいのはこういうことやろ。お父さんもうすぐ出会ってくることになっとるが、
Yes.
また難癖をつけて結局現れん可能性がまだ残ってるっちゅうことやろ。
そうか。そうよね。私たちの追求に兄さんが苦し紛れの時間稼ぎでお父様が現れると出任せを言ったのかもしれない。やっぱりお父様はすでに亡くなっていて、兄さんは今なおまだ健在であると嘘をつき続けている。
つまり、お父様が現れれば、すべての策は通用しない。考える必要もない。私たちは訴状の魚。運を天に任せて、お父様との直接交渉に臨むしかないわ。それこそ、土下座とげんこつを覚悟して、お金を無心するしかない。でも逆に、お父様が現れなければ、私たちの当初の作戦は何も揺るがない。
なるほど。つまりどっちに転ぼうとも今さらあたふたする必要は何もないってことね。
そういうこと。お父様が現れれば、本来の親族会議が行われるだけの話。現れなければ、私たちは引き続き、クラウス兄さんを追求すればいいだけの話なのよ。
Wow.
お父さんの機嫌が急に悪くなって、みたいなクラウスさんの言い逃れを決して許さんようにせんとな。
どうやら私たちが本当に検討すべきは、兄さんがどんな策を弄してこの場をごまかそうとしてくるかよ。往生際の悪さは私が一番よく知っているわ。お父様がお元気なら、私たちは土下座してお金を無心し、クラウス兄さんの茶番だったなら、私たちは醜い兄弟喧嘩を再開し、今年も素敵な親族会議になりそうね。
だな。下手な考え、休むに似たりってわけか。もうじき22時だな。兄貴に催促してみるか。
No, not yet. Rudolph and the rest looked at Kraus. Firmly seated, He looked like he was awaiting Ginzo's arrival with an air of composure. They couldn't tell whether this was really composure or whether he was scheming about how to tie together his
あ
lie.
なた、
落ち着きなさい。もう今さらジタバタしても始まらん。源氏さんに任せよう。
もうじき10時ですね。
I just love her. That was the time that had been set for tonight's family conference to open. And in addition, it was also the time that the Ushiromiya family had needed to appear. Oh shit, at 10 p.m.? Right then, they heard the sound of footsteps approaching from the hall. Let me look again. It is 21... I can't read military time. There were multiple sets. Wait a minute. Yes, 21. That would be 9 p.m., 9:48 p.m. Natsuki jerked her head up with a start. But there came the sound of a knock, and her expression filled with disappointment. Because Ginzo probably wouldn't have knocked.
失礼いたします。戸締まりの見回りが終わりました。
It was Goda and Kumasawa. Unlike the physically fit Goda, it was rare for Kumasawa with her old body to still be tasked with work this late. Of course, Kraus also seemed to know that. Oh shit, so that's a sign he is coming?
こんな時間まで申し訳ないね、熊沢さん。
いいえ、こう見えてもまだまだ夜更かしは得意でございますので。
熊沢についてだけは立ち会いを外させても良いのでは。さすがに体に応えるでしょう。
使用人も全員揃えろとの命令だ。逆らえん。
That was the order? Okay. Poor Kumasawa, man, my girl, she needs her rest. Tonight's family conference was clearly different from a normal one, but I heard that the older you get, the less sleep you need. Is that true? On a normal year, no one was able to attend the family conference except relatives. It would have been inconceivable for any servant to be present. But this year was different. They had been told to have all of their servants in attendance for the family conference. That's some serious shit then. Of course, they would not be allowed to speak. They were there as observers. Just what in the world was going to happen that needed 5 servants to observe? Don't tell me, the fucking first Twilight! Even Kraus didn't know. What if fucking Ginzo was the one who just kills them? That would be fucking crazy, dude. That would be a shock.
徹夜はこう見えても強いんですよ。旦那様もサバをもりもり食べれば夜ももっとたくましくなれますよ。
Is mackerel like a fucking miracle food? I mean, come on.
なるほど。
She really loves it.
まだまだお元気でおられる。100歳になっても元気でお勤めに違いない。
That's a very admirable thing. How old is Kumasawa? Is she still full of energy?
奥様、勝手ながら
She's still full of life.
軽食の準備をさせていただきました。いつでも配膳できますので、ご指示を頂戴できればと思います。
Ooh, a light snack. I wonder what it is.
ありがとう。やはりあなたは気が利きますね。他の皆さんにコーヒーのおかわりを勧めてください。
Coffee at 9 p.m.?
かしこまりました。
I mean 10? Still 48. After bowing slightly, Goda took the pot towards the relatives gathered at the other end of the table. As he did, more footsteps approached from the hallway. Oh, no, it's gonna be Canon, right? A single set. They were light. Even before the knock, they could imagine who it was. My boy Kano.
失礼いた
Oh,
します。
Shannon.
お子様方をゲストハウスへお送りいたしました。
ご苦労でした。今夜は特別な晩です。緊張感を欠かさないように。
はい、かしこまりました、奥様。
Wouldn't the kids... I don't get it. Genji, accompanied by Kanon, had gone to meet Ginzo. There was still no sign of their return. Wait, Genji, Kanon, and Ginzo are together? The hands of the clock were creeping past 10. Are they? It's still at 48, bitch. Once sure of that, Ava spoke to Kraus.
兄さん、 もう時間だけれども、親族会議、まだ始まらないのかしら？
Hey. Calm down, baby.
主賓の到着が遅れている。しばらく待ちたまえ。
いつまで？悪いけど、時間を切ってもらうわよ。お父様がなかなか来ないなんてのを延々と続けて、夜明けまで待たされたらたまらないわ。
親父殿のお越しになる時間を私が約束などできるものか。何を焦っているのだね。まずはコーヒーでも飲んで落ち着かんかね。兄貴、俺たちは親族会議のために集まってるんだ。茶番じゃない。あと30分は待つ。だがそれでダメなら書斎に押しかけさせてもらうぜ。
Oh shit.
押しかけるとは物騒な。当主様への敬いにあまりにも欠ける行為です。
そうよね。ごめんなさい。あと30分はおとなしくしてるわ。
How the fuck would you barge into that locked down fucking place, dude? That shit must be locked down tight and big ass doors.
30分後にも同じ笑いが浮かべられるか。
Oh, girl, you don't want to say that. I guarantee he's gonna show up right now, isn't he? He's just gonna eat her words.
親父殿が死んでいると。
それを今さら議論する気はないわ。お父様がここにやってくればいいだけの話。兄さんを言いまかす必要なんて何もないもの。
Look at her talking that shit.
後ろ宮家当主は正当なる人間。正当なる手続きをもって継承される。お前が何の策を弄したところで何も抗えん。
Right, there's rules to this shit.
もちろん私
They must be obeyed.
何をわけのわかんないことを。今まで散々自分こそが次期当主だと威張ってきたくせに。
お前の言葉をそのまま返す。それを今さら議論する気はない。
Ah, fuck it. How did I know he was gonna throw that shit
親
back?
父殿がやってきて自らの口でそれを宣言すればいいだけの話だ。お前を言いまかす必要などどこにもない。
And his word is law.
だったか。
Motherfuckers. Krause casually turned Ava's words back on her. Of course, that poured fuel on Ava's anger. But it didn't ignite. Because in that instant, the sound of a very loud knock rang out. Oh shit. Both Genji and Kanan were unusually very reserved when they knocked. They wouldn't hit the door with such a violent strength. It was like a judge's gavel slamming down in a call to order. So everyone fell quiet. Bitch, that must have fucking shaken everyone, bitch. Heart, blood stopping. That must have made their blood run cold. The door opened slightly and Genji showed himself. Then he spoke with a solemn tone, different from his usual one. It wasn't the tone he used when carrying out his duties. It was the tone he used when speaking for Ginzo himself. So just by hearing Genji speak like that, the siblings were struck with a sudden tension.
皆様、ご着席を。
Bitch, it's about to go down. At those words, the dining hall fell into a complete silence and everyone rushed back to their designated seats. They were like students who had been making a lot of noise just before homeroom, hurriedly returning to their seats when the teacher came. It might even have felt humorous. Oh fuck. But there was no way anyone would joke about it. Everyone sat in order and Shannon, Goda, and Kumasawa stood up straight in a row by the wall. Shit, isn't that like a fucking when they shoot people when they're about to kill them?
栄光ある後ろ宮家の当主にして金色に輝ける六軒島の領主。
No! Wait a fucking minute! Okay, the Lord. The island that sparkles gold?
後ろ宮金蔵卿のおなりであります。
Bitch. Of the double doors into the dining hall, Genji opened the right door from the inside, and Kanan opened the left door from the outside. Holy shit. I swear this bitch motherfucker! And welcome by the deepest of bows from the two servants with his cape fluttering majestically. Kinzo appeared. Holy shit! Kinzo's gait had a dignified weight to it, and it was very hard to believe that he had been diagnosed as having not much time left to live. Why is this such a big thing, man? I've seen it multiple times before. Genji pulled back Kinzo's seat and motioned for him to sit. But Kinzo remained standing, signaling with his chin for Genji to move back. And with his chin? Big bad, big dick, no shit, taking bad to the bad motherfucker. Dude, look at that attitude he's walking with. Oh shit, he talking to her immediately?
いえ、そんな怯えてるなんて。お父様が大変お元気そうなので、ほっとしただけで。
Oh shit!
エヴァ、お前は相変わらず面白いな。クラウスとの賭けに負けて悔しいと素直に言えばよいのに。言えないよな。
Ava realized that their conversation during the day had indeed been an open book to Kinzo, and she turned red as she hung her head.
さてと、我が息子たち娘たち、そしてその伴侶の諸君、お前たちの就寝している我が財産と当主の継承について、今宵は重要な発表をしようと思う。
Oh, this is everything, dude.
まず最初に、
okay.
私はひどく失望していることを伝えようと思う。
You're disappointed in us.
それは今日まで誰にもあの碑文の謎を解くことができなかったということだ。
I fucking knew that fucking epitaph was gonna be fucking referenced. Even though Kinzo said he was disappointed, a condescending smile, as though there was no way the likes of them could have solved it, rose to his face as he cast an eye over each and every one of them.
私はあれを解けた者に全てを譲り渡すつもりでいた。しかし今日までに誰も解くことができず、我が全ては誰にも継承されることなくここに至っているわけだ。情けない。
Oh, what the fuck's up with his eyes?
お前たちの中にそれを受け継ぐ資格を持つ人間が現れなかったことが、私は心底残念であり、そして情けなくざまあないと思っている。
The siblings hung their heads in silence. Of course, they would have solved it if they could. They had blown their chance, and none of them could deny that, but even so, it was just so hard a riddle.
よって私は碑文の謎にて我が継承者を選ぶことをここに中止することを宣言する。つまりはタイムオーバー、
No way!
ゲームオーバーというわけだ。残念だったな、お前たち。お前たちには等しく公平にチャンスがあったはずなのに、それが今ここについえた。
It truly sounded like Kinzo was making a victory proclamation.
ならば当主は長男のクラウスに継承されるのか。答えはノーである。
Oh, really? What a shock, bitch! How is everybody gonna take this news? Look at him! Look at Kraus! He looks like a little boy who just got told off!
わかっているよな、クラウス。お前には確かに次期当主という肩書きを与えた。だが、お前はそれに溺れただけだ。次期当主というのはどういう意味かわかるか？
お父さんの後を継ぐという意味です。
Oh, fuck! Oh my, are we
次
gonna...
期当主というのは当主が約束されたものではない。いいかクラウス、二度と教えないからよく聞けよ。次期当主というのはな、自分以外にも当主を狙う奴がいたら、その花を徹底的にへし折って二度と逆らえないようにしてやる奴のことを言うのだ。
Someone who goes after complete and utter domination?
これは何も当主だけのことではない。金についても言える。金持ちというのは金を持っているやつのことではない。自分より金を持っているやつ全てを叩き潰し、そして誰よりも金をかき集められるやつのことを言うのだ。才能も同じ。天才とは才能に秀でたやつのことではない。自分を天才と全ての人間に呼ばせることを力とカリスマで強要できるやつを指している。お前はその全てにおいて勘違いしているのだよ。
They almost someone with like just an insane amount of passion.
だから次期当主の器ではないのだよ。勉強になります。
Wow. The Great Kraus. Perhaps this was precisely Ginzo's philosophy. Though it could... Though it could also be taken for a rant, it was a result of a faithfully carrying out that philosophy of his. That Ginzo had raised the Ushiromiya family to such prosperous heights. It may be hard to imagine after his immersion in the occult in recent years, but it was that brutal aggressiveness that was Ushiromiya Ginzo's charisma and aura. Yes, that's what I was thinking. He basically wants a copy of himself. Someone who is so driven that even if someone is superior to you in one thing, you using other avenues will bring them down from the pedestal they are in to bring you up higher to even they reached. Higher than they reached.
このような不甲斐ないクラウスに後ろ宮家の全てを継承する資格などない。ならばエヴァ、ルドルフ、ローザの3人にはあるのか？
Well, I mean, last episode, Ava, maybe.
これもノーである。碑文の謎を解けず、さりとてクラウスを引きずり下ろす策も浪せず。
Oh, that fucker just caught us, dude. So he's so fucking right, dude. We had a chance to grab him by the balls and fucking wring out everything we wanted, but we couldn't do it.
お前たちにできたのは3人寄せ集めで共同戦線を張ってクラウスから金をせびろうとしたことだけ。
And that's the first thing he brought up when he walked in. Big Dick Ginzo talking shit about our great effort. Our great strong ass effort unified everyone together. We couldn't do shit.
しかもその策も浅はかそのもの。
He's laughing at
クラウ
us
ス
so
一
bad.
人を追い詰めることさえできやしない。
And Kraus deems him ain't shit. Imagine what he deems us.
情けないことこの上なし。次期当主の座をどんなことをしてでも奪い取ろうという貪欲さが足りぬ。欲しいもののためにはいかなる犠牲も払い、どこまでも貪欲となるべし、強欲となるべし。幸運の女神は貪欲なる者にこそ微笑む。その野生の精神がないお前たち3人にクラウス同様に継承の資格などありはしない。
Wow. Ava and the rest had no words to respond with, and they couldn't figure out what it was that Ginzo was about to say. Was Ginzo actually planning to proclaim that no one would succeed the head? If so, that would work to Ava, Rosa, and Rudolph's advantage. Because the only thing the siblings would ultimately need to do is coordinate everything between them after Ginzo's death and split the inheritance evenly. On the contrary, if a specific person's name was raised and proclaimed to be the one to succeed the head, that would surely be more troublesome. But would Ginzo really say something that would benefit any of the four siblings after lambasting them so much?
まさか誰にも引き継がないからと財産を全て慈善団体にでも寄付するとか言い出すつもりじゃないでしょうね。
It doesn't seem like the type to do
お父
that.
様ならやりかねないという恐怖はあるわ。
You think so? You really think
血が
so?
昇ってるだけさ。しばらくは聞き流すしかない。
Oh my god, bro.
では応答する。
Holy fuck. Look at my boy. I never. Dude, the fucking bass in my boy Krause's voice was just taken away. Look at him, man. He looks so submissive now.
次期当主についてはどういうお考えをお持ちですか？
What if he just gives it to Genjin?
お前たちに完全に失望した以上、私は誰に引き継ぐ気も失った。よって後宮家はこれで終わる。私の代で終わりだ。
そういうわけには。
後宮家などあの震災の時にとっくに滅んでおるわ。
No fucking way!
後宮家など私が束の間だけ見ている黄金の幻想に過ぎぬのだ。私が夢より覚めれば終わる程度のもの。この世など全ては夢、幻。生など死という目覚めの前には白昼夢と同じよ。ああ、そうだ。元よりそうだったのだ。私が死ぬ時に全てを失うのがベアトリーチェとの契約、そして呪い。そうはいくか、ベアトリーチェ。お前を捕らえるのはこの私だ。今宵それは現実となるだろう。
Holy fuck, what? For a while, Ginzo was overcome with cackling and his eyes bulged. Whenever he talked about Beatrice, he was always eloquent and filled with obsession.
お前たちのような愚かなる息子たちなどまさに白昼夢。初めからいなかったも同然よ。
You have no love for them, you fucking birthed them, you're the one, you fucking raised them since children, that biological urge to love your child that's not in you?
消えろ、覚めろ。真実の私のまどろみとともに消え去ってしまえ。私を継承するに値する何者も築き上げてこなかった出来損ないどもめ。
金蔵さん、よろしいか
Huh, what could he possibly say? Dude, Nanjo, out of anyone to speak, Nanjo?
我が友よ。
Nanjo nervously raised his hand, asking to speak. Okay, let's see what my boy has to say. Ginzo
金
permitted.
蔵さんの気持ちもわかる。子供たちを愛するがゆえに大きな期待を寄せ、それゆえに期待を裏切られたような気
Oh,
持
he's
ち
a
の
grandparent.
親心。同じく子供や孫を持つ身としてよくわかります。しかし金蔵さんは非凡だ、天才だ。そんな金蔵さんに追いついて当然というんではちょいとひどすぎるんじゃないかね。
Listen, in his eyes, if you're not as talented as he is, or as hungry and voracious as he is for success, and whatever the fuck it is, whatever you choose to apply it, you're just gonna fail in his eyes.
それでもそんな金
You
蔵さ
are
んに
a
追いつこうと
Oh no.
クラウスさんもエヴァさんもルドルフさんもローザさんも、そしてその伴侶の皆さんもよく頑張っています。
ほほう、よく頑張ってどの程度の金を稼ぎ上げたというのか。
They just borrow it all from you,
事
don't
業
they?
にことごとく失敗して借金を抱え、未だに私のすねをかじろうという間抜けどものどこがよく頑張っていると言えるのか。この世の全ては金として結晶しているのだ。それがつかめぬということはこの世をつかんでおらぬということ。魂がこの世をしっかりつかんでおらぬということは生きるに値せぬということだ。消えろ、我が生と現実から消え去ってしまえ。
それは暴論です。その理論から言ったら私だって生きていてはいけないことになる。そんな私でも金蔵さんと過ごしたチェスの時間は世の中お金で買えないものもたくさんあることを金蔵さん自身が誰よりもご存知のはず。
He's gonna say like what? As the siblings motionlessly hung their heads, they cheered Nanjo on inside their hearts. Not one of the siblings could offer their opinion to Kinzo in a rage, but Nanjo alone was allowed to, as Kinzo's close friend. Is he? I swear, he's gonna fucking tell him he's the new head, isn't he? Even though Kinzo had raged so fiercely, after being admonished by Nanjo, he nodded several times, as though in agreement. He's surprisingly docile inside. Might have seemed cute, but there was no one who could laugh.
確かに息子さんたちは金蔵さんほどの財は築き上げられなかったかもしれない。まあそれでも私から見れば羨ましいほどのお金持ちではありますがな。
Not rich
しかし
enough.
お金だけでなくお金では買えないたくさんのものを築き上げました。それについて言えば金蔵さんにも負けないくらいです。
ほう、金で買えぬ何を積み上げたというのか。
Is he talking about the love they have for each other?
家族です。
Oh, happiness. Oh, dude, these people are so fucking angry.
彼らは素晴らしい伴侶を見つけ、子を産み、それぞれの幸せな家庭を築かれています。
The only people we don't know that are just angry 24/7 is like Rudolph and maybe Kraus. Maybe he's not as angry, or I don't know.
あなたの一族を繁栄させ、そして孫を連れ帰ってきてくれました。孫はいいですぞ。私たち年寄りは私たちには見ることもかなわぬ新しき時代を生きるだろう若き孫に。それは老郷の唯一の楽しみではありませんか。思い出しなさい、金蔵さん。彼らが初めて孫を連れて帰ってくれた時の喜びを。
Did he even care?
息子さんたちは、そして孫たちは金蔵さんの偉業を後の世まで伝え模範としてくれることでしょう。それはお金がいくらあろうとも孤独なる身にはなせぬことです。
The siblings all nodded in agreement. Certainly, there had been a time when Kinzo had looked at his newly born grandchildren with happiness in his eyes. Back when he still had some sanity in his heart. However, was there any human warmth still left inside Kinzo's heart?
それはつまり私が成した巨万の富の代わりに金を儲ける代わりに孫を儲けたと、そういうわけか。
いえ、
私が稼ぎ上げた数百億という財産の代わりに息子たちは一人ずつ孫を設けたというわけか。
Yes!
それは素晴らしい。つまりは100億を投じて命を一つ生み出したと、そういうわけだ。これは面白い。錬金術的に考えて実に面白い例えではないか。ほう、なんと価値ある孫たちなのか。
素晴らしい素晴らしいそうなのかクラウス、お前の娘には100億の価値があるというのか。
Kraus couldn't answer instantly. It wasn't that he didn't have confidence in his daughter, it was because he didn't have a clue what Ginzo was trying to test with this question. But when Natsuki was then pressed for an answer, she responded, breaking Kraus's silence with an answer of her own interpretation.
はい。ジェシカは100億のお金を積まれても手放せない娘です。その意味において、お金では数えられない価値があると信じています。
ほう、100億の価値があると言い切るか。ほうほう、エヴァはどうか。お前のところのジョージはどうだ。
Oh boy. Given the way Natsuki had chosen to answer, there was naturally no doubt as to what Ava's answer would be. Even though Ava should have known better than to respond to this kind of provocative question, she did so as well.
お父様、ジョージには100億の、いいえ、それ以上の価値があります。それはお金で買えないという抽象的な意味ではありません。ジョージは必ずや自らの価値に等しいだけの財産を築き上げるでしょう。お父様の偉業を継ぐにふさわしい孫となるはずです。
Ava sent a glance at Hideyoshi and Natsuki that said, like a fiddle. After hearing Ava's answer, Natsuki was about to add more praise for her daughter, but stopped at a glare from Kraus.
なるほど。ならばルドルフはどうか。お前のところのバトラはどうだというのか。
Oh my motherfucking boy, badly, not even, dude, no money in the world can be worth it.
ジョージ君に比べられちゃ言われることは何もない。
Oh my god. Oh no, I did not expect him to say that. Okay, complete 180.
誘拐されて身代金を100億よこせと脅されたら、のしをつけて進呈したい程度のやつではある。
Oh shit.
さらにバカで無鉄砲だ。偉そうな夢やできるわけもねえことを語り出す。その一点においてはバカ100億人分に匹敵する大バカだろうさ。
Oh, you know, I love that. I love that.
バカもできねえ凡人どもが100億人束になってもできねえことをきっとあいつはやり出すだろう。
That's right. That's right, my boy. That's why I love my boy. My boy Battler. He's out. He does. I mean, they gave him the perfect name.
ま、俺はどうせこけるだろうと思ってる。
And he'll get back up because he do battle.
世の中は甘くねえ。しかし100億の凡人を眺めるよりは奴の人生は干渉して愉快なものになるだろうことだけは疑ってねえぜ。
Ava clicked her tongue at the clever style of speech that would probably match Ginzo's tastes. Apparently, Rudolph had been after this himself. He grinned back to her. Look at this crafty motherfucker. He just lost all his emotion. He's not even laughing anymore.
マリアは私の可愛いたった一人の娘です。お金の価値で測れるものではありません。それだけです。
なるほど。夢と未来、奇跡と可能性は我が魔力の源泉だ。希望をなくしていかなる魔法も力を持ちはしない。すでに凡百であることを証明してしまったお前たちには何を期待することもかなわないが。なるほど。孫たちには未来の可能性があり、魔法的奇跡を期待する価値はあり得るというわけか。それをもって100億以上の価値と言ってみせるなら、わからぬでもない。
When Ginzo got in a rage, he wouldn't let anyone talk back. But even so, while yelling by himself, he would sometimes convince himself of something all of his own accord. Really? And change his own opinion. That's what this felt like to the siblings. Apparently, even though Ginzo had become absolutely fed up with his sole shoddy children and had cast them away as being unfit for the inheritance of his title of fortune, or his fortune. He wasn't so sure about his grandchildren. At this rate, he might soon say that the inheritance would go to his grandchildren instead of the siblings. As the siblings sat in fear of what their fickle and short-tempered father would suddenly think of next, they carefully watched his every move. Where could this possibly end? Is he gonna, if the grandchildren can come up with solving the epitaph, maybe he'll say that. He said not all. What about a portion?
孫たちの誰かにその資格があるかどうかを問うのはなかなかに面白いことだ。いつまでも子供だと思っておったが、ひょっとすると私を驚かせるような原石のきらめきを見せてくれるかもしれん。
Dude, this fucking epitaph is everything he thinks about.
そしてそれを期待し試すのは、なるほど。我が余生最後の道楽としても捨てがたい。さて、これはどうしたものか。
ジョージなら、お父様の後を継ぐにふさわしいと、私は自信を持って推薦できます。
Of course she jumps at the chance to say that. Ava claimed that right away. Natsuki looked like she was about to follow along, but Kraus gave her a look, telling her to restrain herself, so she swallowed her words.
勇ましいではないか。では、こうしよう。後宮家の家督と財産のすべてを受け継ぐ資格があるかどうか、孫たちに個別に問おうではないか。
I feel like Maria's gonna be the only one right.
お父様
She's gonna relate to Kinzo a lot, and I press that button on her.
よし！それはお前たちの誰かに間接的に家督を引き継ぐという意味ではない。お前たちにはすでに失望しているのだ。お前たちに与えるものは今や何もない。何もな。私が問うのは孫たちだ。そして引き継ぐかもしれないのも孫たちだ。それを決して勘違いするな。
お父さんの判断に同じくだ。親父の決定に従うぜ。なあ、姉貴。
もちろんよ。お父様が賢明な判断をされると信じています。
Right, she's not gonna say something stupid.
私もお父様の判断に従います。
Man, how did it turn out like this?
孫たちをどのように試すかは考えよう。そしてそれはお前たちには今さら関係のない話だ。当主継承とお前たちはもはや何の関係もないのだから。だからこの場ではお前たちに関係のあるもう一つの話をしようではないか。
What would that be?
もう一つの話と。
それこそが今宵の、そして後宮家最後の親族会議の本当の理由だ。
What? The only thing I could come up with is him just telling them, okay, you're all gonna die tonight, so if your kids don't come up with a fucking, you know, whatever. I swear, he's gonna say that, isn't he?
お前たちに求めるのは議論でも意見でもない。我が儀式に協力を求めるためだ。
I fucking knew it!
儀式？
静かに。お父様がお話をなさっている最中よ。
Oh, Ava. Oh, Ava. Rudolph and the rest automatically knitted their brows at the occult-like word ritual. Was he talking about starting a strange ritual involving Beatrice's resurrection again? He was demanding that they help? What in the world was he planning to start? In the past, he had carried out many eccentricities that he called by the same name, such as lighting a strange incense and filling the whole mansion with a stench. To the siblings, a ritual was nothing more than one of the aged Ginzo's obnoxious hobbies.
お父さん、儀式とは一体。
私たちに協力できることなら何でもご協力します。
Of course she's gonna kiss his ass. She's gonna kiss his ass as much as she can.
ええ。
She doesn't. Rosa don't know what the fuck's going on. Look at her.
でも、一体何を
Just confused.
私が碑文に刻んだ通りの儀式だ。ベアトリーチェを蘇らせ、黄金鏡の扉を開く儀式である。
Oh boy.
肉体の檻を逃れ、私の指の隙間を嘲笑うようにすり抜けるあの魔女を今度こそ捕らえ、屈服させる私の最大の秘術だ。
Okay, this is getting very... Okay, I want to know. What do you mean?
そのために13人もの命を生贄に捧げねばならぬがな。
If the kids don't look at him like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is he talking? Let's get the fuck out of here. Yo, let me look at this shit again. She slipped through his fingers. I will finally be able to capture and subjugate. He wants complete, total domination. With my greatest hidden arts. Okay.
13人もの生贄は容易には集まらん。
Now then, they said that I could theorize. I should theorize. Now then, the way he's speaking right now is making me think, maybe subtly in the back of my mind, it's not easy to gather 13 sacrifices. Now then, look at what he just said. He just said, with my greatest hidden art, only I must sacrifice 13 people for that purpose. So this is talking about, you know, all of this is together. So maybe in some way the sacrifice for Beatrice to quote unquote revive, she just keeps reviving over and over again. Maybe that's the point. But he's talking right now as if that's what he wants as well. And in doing so, he subjugates Beatrice. Or he kind of like keeps her here stuck on Rokkenjima. So I'm assuming maybe he, in some way, Beatrice doing these sacrifices unknowingly keeps her here? Could that be the case? Because that's what I'm thinking of right now, him saying this shit.
しかし、今宵は親族会議。
Maybe it like indirectly helps Kinzo out or something. He benefits from it even slightly. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of right now.
これだけの大人数が六軒島に集まった。この儀式が行えるのは今日を置いて他にないのだ。
Okay. Taken literally, it could only sound as though he was telling them to die as sacrifices for his disturbing ritual. Yes, that's exactly what he's saying. Ridiculous. Was this some kind of metaphor? But they didn't even have a clue what he was trying to tell them through this analogy. The siblings whispered together, wondering what Ginzo was saying. Yeah, like, what the fuck? Like, he lost his fucking mind. Like, what the fuck? Is he crazy as shit? Absolutely crazy as shit.
ごめんなさい、お父様。どういう意味でおっしゃられているのか。
Look at her.
わかりかねます。
Look at her fucking changing everything. A smile on her face. You hear the sweetness in her voice.
何がわかりかねるというのか。
Oh man, that just pissed him off.
私は至極単純に話している。
Yeah, he's like, you fucking idiots. Can I be any more clear?
ベアトリーチェを蘇らせる儀式のために、この島にいる人間から13人を選び、生贄に捧げようと言っている。何の価値もないお前たちも、我が儀式の生贄としてなら、大いに役に立てるというわけだ。
How the fuck would an adult ever react to their parents telling them this shit? I'm just trying to imagine the scenario.
これは冗談でも何でもない。我が人生の最後に欲する最後の賭け、最後の儀式である。この島には今13人を超える人間がいる。つまりこの膨大な数の生贄を容易に満たせるだけの頭数が存在するというわけだ。お前たちは我が儀式の生贄となれ。金蔵さん、あの話は本気だったのかね。冗談ではなく。
Unusually for Nanjo, his face changed color and he stood up and shouted. It seemed that this wasn't the first time Nanjo had heard all this dark talk about 13 sacrifices.
すまんな我が友よ。あれは冗談でも何でもない。我が生涯を賭して最後に挑む儀式でありゲームなのだよ。そう、これはゲームだ。お前たちにとって我が財産を得て島を出ることがゴールならば、それを達する方法は2つしかない。13人の生贄から逃れ見事生き残り、今さらながら非分の謎を解いて儀式を止めてみせるか。私を殺し、
What?
この儀式を止めてみせるか。
What?
この2つしかない。
Wait a minute. But he died before, and the ritual still continued. By now, it was no longer whispering among those gathered there, but uneasy commotion. Even the siblings had noticed that Ginzo was beginning to act abnormally.
お父さん、少しお疲れなのでは。元気さ。お父さんは少し酒を。
Yo, is he drunk?
いいえ。親方様はご名跡であらせられます。 悪いけど親父、何を言い出すのかさっぱりだぜ。親父が愛する魔女を蘇らせるためにどんな怪しげな儀式を追っ始めてもそりゃ自由だぜ。親父の趣味なんだからね。だがそいつに巻き込まれて生贄にされるのはまっぴらごめんだぜ。
ルドルフ、お父様の話に口を挟む気？
Listen, bitch, he just said he's gonna kill us all.
何言ってんだ兄貴。こんな物騒な話にはいそうですかでうなずけるわけねえだろ。
Exactly. Was the ritual Ginzo had mentioned literally the frightening thing it seemed to be? Or was it some kind of test to choose a successor? It seemed that Rudolph had taken it as his disturbing... Fuck me. It seemed that Rudolph had taken it at its disturbing face value. But Ava apparently still believed that it was something like a trial or examination to find the proper next head. She's so scared. She so desperately wants it. But Ginzo's response to this was clear.
さて、私からの話は以上だ。異議も意見も何にも必要はない。4人の不出来なる息子たちがいたという私の夢が覚めるだけの話なのだ。お前たちにとってこれより目の前で起こることはまさに夢、幻、あるいはこの世のものと思えぬ理解に及ばぬ世界だろう。しかしそれこそが我が現実。お前たちという出来の悪き浅い夢は今こそようやく覚めるのだ。さあ、もうゲームは始まっているぞ。これだけいては誰から命を奪えばいいものやら。
Oh, you don't want to say that.
さらばだ、出来の悪き息子たちよ。そして生涯でただ一度、そして最後に私の儀式のために役に立て。
I'm shaking my head. What a nice thing to say to your children.
いでよ、ペンドラゴンの記念兵たちよ。
What the fuck? What the fuck? As Ginzo raised his arms high like an opera singer and yelled those words as though towards a packed audience. What? The air shattered like glass, and the figures of 3 people who hadn't been invited to this island appeared regardless? What? What? Huh? Who is this?
シエスタ WO ここにであります。
Who is this bitch? Okay, so those two girls are like abnormally strong, right? And this third bitch, who is she? 3 girls with bizarre forms suddenly appeared behind Ginzo. Where from? When? Who? Who are they? The humans were thrown off balance and their minds went blank. And because they wasted time with such thoughts, they lost their chance to survive.
お前たちには6人の射殺を許可する。標的は自由だ。攻撃開始。
自由射撃了解であります。良き標的に感謝。かっこ自由射撃開始。一番乗りだね。
Holy shit, as 410 scratched the air with her fingers, a golden bow appeared in empty space and its string was pulled back. Oh, this shit again. The golden arrow that had been readied there was fired off without any hesitation, flew around the room leaving haphazard gold trails everywhere. And from among those sitting at the table of the family conference, it chose Natsuki, no, my fucking girl! And pulverized the left half of her face. Dude, they don't have to go that fucking brutal. Especially not to her. Flesh and deep red blood splattered all around. I don't want to see. Oh my. Leaving a massive amount of deep red splatter marks on the relative's face and the pure white tablecloth. There was silence. Despite the massive number of deep red blotches left on the tablecloth, even still, no one could understand why Natsuki's head was half smashed, or why she was hanging her head as though she had dozed off in her chair. And they watched these events in silence. Those sitting on the right-hand side from Natsuki were silently for a relatively long time. Were silent, I said silently. But those sitting on her left were not, because the people sitting on that side had been shown how her head had been smashed open like a watermelon or a pomegranate, and could even see inside her.
まずは一人、夏日か。最後まで運のない女だ。次。
WO 射撃。
In the same way, 00 scratched the empty air to ready her bow and fired. Just like the golden arrow 410 had released, it flew around and around at high speeds, drawing a convoluted trail, after which, as he looked at Natsuki in shock, it smashed half of Rudolph's head in the same way, killing him instantly. This time, everyone did not stop thinking altogether. They realized that a terrible murder had been carried out right in front of them according to Ginzo's words, and they understood that Ginzo would probably kill again. Well, no shit, he said 6! Shrill screams burst out. Even now, they still didn't know what to do, so they could only keep screaming and flapping their wide open mouths like goldfish. Get the fuck out, bitch! As Ava asked Ginzo that in total shock, Hideyoshi, who had come to his senses and risen from his chair, faster than anyone else, pulled at her arm from behind. Get up, bitch! We're leaving! Get up, bitch! However, merciless fate's choice for the third sacrifice was Hideyoshi. I fucking knew it. Just like the two before him, half of Hideyoshi's head was neatly smashed, and the right side of his head, which happened to be facing that direction at the time, was blown away, chunks of its contents thrown everywhere like a watermelon or a pomegranate. So, still holding Ava, Hideyoshi toppled backwards and fell down. Still held by her beloved husband, Ava fell over backwards with him. Ava screamed. And who could blame her? The face she had been looking for had been half lost. And the crushed skull, the squelchy exposed brain, and the crushed jaw were all bare.
45着弾命中。
見事だ。続けて撃て。残りは3人であるぞ。お父さん、これは何の真似です。
Kraus stood up forcefully and was about to rush Kinzo when 00 blocked him. Despite her slender-looking body, she held back Kraus's body with just the palm of her right hand. He still tried to resist and attack Kinzo, so 00 lifted Kraus up by the collar and twisted into his Adam's apple with her thumb. It seemed to be very painful, and Kraus was overcome with agony. Everyone fucking... You should have been running! Run, Nanjo! Nanjo's sharp words finally broke the spell that had been holding them down in their chairs. Get up, you fucking idiots! As Golda and Kumasawa made a mad scramble to escape from the dining hall. Run, bitch! 410 teleported to that spot, blocking the way. Not Kumasawa. Oh fuck. At the sound of Kirya's sharp voice, Golda, in a state of complete confusion, ducked. Then a burst of air rushed above his head. Kirya had taken a big swing with the chair to mow down, to fuck her up. But 410, still wearing a contemptuous expression, easily caught that widely swung chair with one hand. Fucking a knee to the stomach! An elbow to the fucking nose! Oh, bitch, it's over. From the sleeve of the arm that she had used to catch the chair, something like a shining gold snake appeared, coiled itself around the chair, and with a huge crunch, burst it into splinters. It was a fearsome power, far stronger than any vice. When Kirya realized that the being in front of her, which looked like a girl, was actually a being that surpassed human knowledge and which a human could not even begin to oppose, her head was filled with a great alarm bell that welled up from inside her. Please don't kill her. I want her to live. Even with a scene like this before their eyes, Genji, Shannon, and Ganon, the servants permitted to wear the one-winged eagle, continued to stand calmly at attention by the wall, making them look very bizarre and eerie. For an instant, Kirya thought that the source of their calmness was that they were with the enemy and had been guaranteed that they wouldn't be killed. But no sooner than she had thought that, than the sight of Genji's face was blown away before her eyes?
45着弾命中。
ほほう、源氏め。これは運が悪い。
He's laughing? Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. He showed a long time ago that he doesn't care about anyone. He doesn't care about anyone. He has no sympathy for anyone other than Beatrice.
そなたの死は無駄にはならぬぞ。我が愛しき魔女復活の重要なる13の鍵の一つとなるのだから。
Yeah, look at that. He's just so focused on her. The half of Genji's expression that remained was as indifferent as ever. He tilted, fell in a heap, and sent a blood-red splatter out across the floor.
僕たちなんて所詮は魔女の駒なんだ。所詮
Oh fuck. From the meek and frustrated, no, resigned expression on Shannon and Ganon's faces, you couldn't feel any naive expectation that they would be saved. That's right. Ginzo was, in the truest sense, carrying out these murders at random. In the truest sense, he was killing like it was a game to see who would be saved and who would be killed. Anyone besides Kirie. 410 looked at Kirie for a second. In that second, Kirie prepared for her own death. But once she had readied the golden bow in midair, 410 looked at someone else over Kirie's shoulder. So, as shameless as it was, Kirie sensed that she had been saved. Or was she? What if it goes after her anyways? That's two, isn't it? Again, an ugly sound of something cracking and exploding rang through the room. Who was it this time? When Kirie turned in the direction of the sound, she saw Ava collapse onto her husband's chest, gushing blood like a fountain. Of course, her face was half smashed, just like her husband's. 410 had mercilessly targeted Ava as she clung to her husband's body, sobbing. Rosa's protestations weren't reaching Ginzo as he continued to laugh loudly in the blood-splattered dining hall. And nor was she able to lessen Krause's pain as 00 lifted him up by the collar. So Rosa had no choice but to use force. She raised one of the chairs besides her over her head and gave a warning. Do it! Do it, Rosa! The chair that Rosa had lifted up swung down at the father who had reigned as a symbol of terror for her entire life. It was the greatest and final act of bravery and self-mastery in Rosa's life. Ginzo might have been right. If she had grasped that courage much sooner, her life might have been more free, unrestrained by anyone else. Then a loud bursting sound. The sound of Rosa's chair fiercely hitting Ginzo. It was not. Still lifting up the chair, she neatly lost half of her head and fell with a thud. While still holding Krause with one hand, 0 had stuck her other hand out towards Rosa. The golden snake released from that arm had constricted Rosa in a helix and chewed a hole through her head. Goldsmith. After declaring this with indifference, 00 let go of Krause, who she had been lifting up this whole time. Dude. So those people, what are they gonna say? It was a massacre that happened in an instant. The interior of the dining hall was dirtied with blood splatter, and the 6 unlucky victims lay with their heads brutally exposed. Fittingly, it was Ginzo's abnormal laugh alone that echoed in that abnormal space. Yes, I was gonna say, aren't the 7 sisters? Run, no! When Ginzo Karuno's name, the demon butler appeared out of thin air, bowing deeply and respectfully.
皆様方、はじめまして。そして、ご無沙汰の皆様におかれましてはごきげんよう。
This fucking song.
これはまた派手に散らかされましたよって。
よいわ。我が白昼夢のごとき日々を覚ますにはこの程度の刺激が必要だ。紹介しよう。我が友人であり頼れる執事であり72柱の大悪魔であるローンだ。
How deep is he into all this shit?
以後お見知りおき。
Just who was he aiming that introduction at? Kraus and Kirie, who were still down on their backsides, and Nanjo, and Goda and Kumasawa. Dude, I'm coming up with a theory right now? For the magic side, could only look up in shock at this middle-aged gentleman who they had never met before. Only Shannon and Kanon seemed to recognize him, and they bowed deeply.
現時には挨拶が叶いませんでしたか。せめて苦痛なく役目を終えられたなら良いのですが。
頭部直撃弾にて即死でした。苦痛を味わう暇もありません。
そうですか。結構です。
続けて友を紹介しよう。いでよ、我が友悪いや。
No fucking way! Ver fucking Gilia too? Dude, once again the figure of someone unknown to the relatives appeared out of thin air. She appeared in an elegant dress while greeting them gracefully.
召喚を感謝します、親方様。
No, Lord!
許されるならば、このような血生臭き場に呼び出されたくはありませんでしたが。
こやつも紹介しよう。我が友であり頼れる相談役でもあるワルギリアだ。偉大なる有限の魔女であるお前の力を我が儀式に借りたい。
Finite.
その力を貸せ。
お断りしようにも、あなたの強力な召喚霊族下にある身ではそれも構いません。御意に、親方様。
それにしても恐ろしいお方だ。シエスタの姉妹兵を3人も召喚し、私に加えさらにワルギリア様までも召喚せしめるとは。
What do you mean by corpse? Like dead body corpse or like army corpse?
召喚という能力においてのみとはいえ、お嬢様をもはるかに上回るとは恐ろしい。後ろ宮の地に戦慄を覚えます。
ベアトリーチェ復活の儀式を執り行うために私は召喚師としての全てを尽くすだろう。まだ足りぬな。この度の儀式の完璧なる遂行のためにさらに召喚しよう。ペンドラゴンの記念兵にロの上にワルギリア。まだ呼べるぞ。我が魔力ならまだまだ呼べる。我が召喚に応えよ。72柱が一人。ガープよ。
ガープ？
ガープをあれまでも権限できるというのですか？
It's a girl?
さらにこの島の侵食が進んだということでしょう。
What do you mean corrosion?
私たちが権限できているほどです。
Okay, yes, you are
今
here.
更どんな大悪魔が呼び出せたとしても驚くには値しません。
もはやロッキン島は完全に異世界に飲み込まれているということですか？彼は屈服しないと良いのですが。
前回たっぷり入れ知恵をなされたでしょう。この程度では今更屈服しますまい。おそらくですがね。さて、私たちはこの舞台を楽しもうではありませんか。今回の主人公はどうやら親方様のようだ。お嬢様とは一味違った脚本に期待しましょう。
It got blue as fuck. As Kinzo strongly concentrated his magical power, a pale blue light gathered in the air, twisted, and a magic circle began to be drawn with a deep red light. This... Wow, oh my god, she's fine! She is fine! Then, it shattered with a sound like glass, and a new demon could be seen there. I like her. I like her right now.
72柱の大悪魔が一つガープよ。
Yeah, she is great.
すごいところに呼び出されたものね。
Is she called Gap because there's a gap in her clothing?
この血まみれの部屋を掃除するために私は呼び出されたのかしら。ゴールドスミス。
The literally devilish woman wrapped in a gaudy, ominous costume. I don't know if it's not ominous to me. Looked at the horrifying scene, which should have made her cover her eyes, and her mouth twisted into a grin.
そのためだけにあなたを呼び出すとしたら、カシミヤのマフラーで雑巾掛けをするようなものですよ。
お久しぶりですね、ガープ。あなたのような大悪魔がとうとうこの島に現れてしまうなんて。
Dude, there's so much shit that's going
こ
on.
の島も幻想に沈むのでしょうか。部屋の惨状よりもこの豪華キャストの方が驚くべきね。シエスタ姉妹が3人もおって、大悪魔ロの上に大魔女マルギリアに私まで。これは何の
Dude, what the fuck?
ここはパンデモニウム。
Yes, is it
孤独の
pandemonium?
演奏会でも始めるつもりかしら。なるほど。そこで指揮棒が震えるのはあなたぐらいしか思いつかないわ。ゴール。
そなたにはベアトリーチェをよみがえらせる我が儀式遂行のための進行役として協力してもらう。我が召喚契約に依存はないな。
依存も何も。天下の大魔女ベアトリーチェを刺激した伝説の大召喚師ゴールドスミス教の召喚霊族に私が抗えるわけもない。協力はするわよ。もちろん見合ったお題もいただくけどね。で最初の仕事は
第一の番を免れた間抜けどもを捕らえよ。幸いにもここにはまだ7人いるではないか。南條にシャノンにカノン、ゴーダに熊沢、キリエにクラウス。ほう、この7人をまるまる生贄に捧げればちょうど13人だ。第二の番以降を実行するタイミングが訪れるまで生贄の檻に放り込んでおくがよかろう。
カシミヤの雑巾だけね。了解したわ。
As Gab shrugged her shoulders, she looked at Kraus, who was still down on his butt. She glared. Then she snapped her fingers, and Kraus was swallowed up by the floor, as though a round pitfall had opened up there.
いっちゃ上がり。
There was no hole in the floor, but it had certainly looked as though Kraus had been swallowed up by a hole and disappeared. Searching for her next prey, Gap gazed across Kiria's. She snapped her fingers. Kiria jumped back as though repelled. Her instinct was correct, because in the place where she had been there until a second ago, a round jet black hole had appeared, the same kind that had swallowed up Kraus. However, before she could catch her balance, another pitfall appeared and swallowed her up. Even Kiria had no way of eluding Gap's capture. My boy just got sucked down. Snap went her fingers once again, and a shocked Nanjo disappeared into the floor. Now it's funny how they just made him go down. Another snap of the fingers. Fortune let out a short yelp and jumped back. This time, a slightly larger pitfall had opened, taking in both Shannon and Canon, who had been standing in a line by the door. But because Fortune had jumped away from the door, the way was no longer blocked. Instinctively aware that they would be next, Golda dashed out through that door. Of course, Kumasawa too was hot on his heels and ran off at lightning speed. Run, bitches! But you're, come on, like they're gonna get nowhere. As Gap snapped her fingers over and over, round jet black pitfalls opened one after another behind them, chasing them. However, they did nothing but drive the desperately fleeing pair towards and couldn't swallow them up. Forward! I mean, Golden and Kumasawa escaped in a matter of seconds.
鈍ったわ。二人逃がした。ご安心を。逃走目標を捕捉中であります。
データリンクよし。にひ、狙撃しますか？
いいえ、それは許可できませんよ。貴重な生贄です。親方様の許可を待つよう。
大ゴールドスミス卿、指示を待ちます。
第二の晩の訪れにはまだ早いと、我が魔力の源泉が囁いておるわ。今はならぬ。好きにさせてやれ。どうせこの島からは逃げられぬわ。
親方様の魔力の源泉とはすなわちノイズとリスクと運試し。つまりは気まぐれというわけですか？
そうとも言うかもしれぬ。ガープ、ご苦労であった。儀式はこのまま着実に進めよ。さて、それはそれとして、次は我が孫たちだ。次期当主たる資格があるかどうかを試す。はてさて、どうやってその資質を確かめたものか。
その資格があると判断されたなら、ベアとの復活を断念されるおつもりで？
無論だ。にもかかわらず試す。
Okay, well that's nice.
女の身にはわからぬであろうな。この無情、我が狂気など。
But why, like who? I don't understand what the purpose. Okay, like they solved the riddle, but how? Like, why the fuck would Ginzo care about that?
相変わらず男ってどこか変ね。リスクを遊ぶという概念、わかりかねるわ。
おやおや、あなたはそういうのが大好きかと思っておりましたが。
もちろんよ。男に危険なリスクと一緒に恋をささやかれたらキュンキュンしちゃうわ。ただしイケメンに限る。
Is my boy Renova stuff?
お静かに。死後は慎むように。
実にかしましい奴らだ。だが少なくとも退屈はせぬ。これだから召喚は愉快なのだ。そなたらには我が儀式のノイズとリスクの天秤の片側を担ってもらうぞ。その働きに期待している。
Six brutally murdered corpses lay in the dining hall, which was tarnished by a red and gruesome decoration. By now, it was impossible to imagine that 13 people had been sitting here in an orderly manner just moments ago. Ginzo lined up the demons of renown and their subordinates loudly declared the beginning of an overwhelming night of mass murder, and swore to himself that he would certainly revive Beatrice and open the door to the Golden Lands. Is that it?
待たせたな。これにて第一の番。いよいよ開幕。
I think that's supposed to be a fourth wall break because I'm pretty sure a lot of fucking people were like, when is it gonna happen, bitch? Chapter 11?
金蔵め、相変わらず派手を好む男よ。付きまとわれればしつこいことこの上なき男も、舞台の上ではこれほどまでに映えるというのか。
くそ、相変わらず黒い殺し方ばかりしやがって。頭部半壊だ。てめえら魔女ども悪魔どもの悪趣味には相変わらずうんざりさせられるぜ。
頭部半壊。なるほど。これまでのゲームで
一番理想的な殺し方がこれだと気づいたわけね。
理想的？このひでえ殺し方がどう理想的だってんだ。
Because we gotta fucking find a way to explain how that happened over and over again.
実に理想的じゃない。
Hello.
一番最初のゲームを思い出してみるといい。
お前はさっき登場しやがった新しい悪魔とかいうやつか。くそ、また魔女の侵食が進んでろくでもないやつが増えたというわけなのか。
I wonder how much people are gonna show up. The more the witch's corrosion progresses, the more Rokenjima tilts toward the other worlds. That's why strange people keep appearing one by one. This island is closed off by the typhoon, and not only can no humans leave it, but new humans can't appear either. But the more the corrosion progresses, the more witches and demons can appear without limits, increasing one by one. By now, perhaps there are more demons than humans among the characters appearing in this insane tale. Their numbers might be precisely the figure representing this mad corrosion. Okay, they said that. Yes, I'm sure that's true. And not only are their numbers being affected by the corrosion, their fashion sense apparently is as well. Yes, that's something I'm noticing. Like, we've always been flashy, right? Everyone's always been flashy, but they're getting more and more crazy. If the corrosion advances any further, and even more weird people appear, just what in the world will they be wearing? It's too scary for me to imagine. Seriously, give me a break. Please, no more of these weird-ass people.
そうはいかんぞ。まだまだ増やすぞ。人間どもの語るクローズドサークルなる間抜けなルール、わらわがいくらでも怪我してやろうぞ。よく来たな、ガープよ。
お久しぶりね、リーチェ。
リッチ。
お元気だった？というか随分元気そうじゃない。あなた若返った？私が知ってる頃より200〜300歳は若々しいわ。ああ、なるほど。
The demon grandfather had summoned and introduced as Gap, took a glance at me and then grinned as though she'd figured out something on her own. Honestly, I felt that smile was repulsive.
レアとの友人らしいな。ってことは輪をかけてろくでもねえやつってわけだ。しかしクローズドサークルがなんとかって言ってやがった。どういう意味だ。
今の六軒島のような外界から断絶された場所で起こる連続殺人ミステリーはクローズドサークルとも呼ばれるの。外界からの断絶、つまりは閉じられた輪の世界というわけ。故に登場人物と容疑者は限定されるのが一般的にもかかわらず、新しい容疑者候補が次々に輪の外から追加されていくのはミステリーの作法に反する。つまり人間とミステリーに対する魔女の冒涜ってつもりなんでしょう。あなたがグレーテル？なるほど、賢い子みたいね。そういう子は好きよ。舌が甘くてとろけるから。気色悪い。冗談は吹くだけにしておいて。
はっ、wow.
デビリッシュプリティの最新作、ジャック・ザ・リッパー・クリスマス・ブラッド。人間界の田舎娘には理解できないセンスでごめんね。
通気性がいいのだけは理解できたら、ついでに頭にも切れ目を入れたら、脳みその通気性も良くなるかもね。
Oh wow, Angie.
ガープ
I didn't know she was like that. Very mean.
しかし今年の流行りも実に大胆。わらわも一度ぜひ取り寄せてみるとしよう。リーチにはアリグレがおすすめね。アリス&ザ・グレーブヤード。今度一緒に666のお洋服見に行きましょう。
Oh, I just want to see that really quickly. Like, obviously I know what that means, but I just want to see it. 666. Modern Japanese fashion subcultures. Oh, okay. Alice in the Graveyard references Alice and the Pirates, a gothic/pirate punk Lolita fashion brand. 666 references the famous department and fashion store 109 in Shibuya, Japan's popular youth culture district. Finally, devilish pretty is a reference to angelic pretty, a very famous sweet Lolita fashion brand. Okay.
たまには魔界にもいらっしゃいな。
このゲームを終えたらぜひそうしようぜ。
それにしてもリーチの対戦相手のお二人はなかなか可愛いな。この子なら頭部半壊死体にどういう意味であるか察しがつきそうね。わかるね、おじ。
さっきこいつは一番最初のゲームを思い出せと言ったらどういう意味だ。
言葉通りの意味を、一番最初のゲームを、第一の版を思い出した。大人たちの死体が魔法陣の描かれた園芸倉庫の中で発見された時のことよ。
Yes, I remember. I remember that. I remember that shit so vividly, dude. I'll never forget it. I loved the first fucking episode. The first Twilight. 6 people, Kraus, Rudolph, Kiria, Rosa, Shannon, and Goda, had died, and each of them had had their head pulverized.
あの時、あそこには2種類の死体があったわ。それは、顔面を粉砕された死体と、側面を粉砕された死体の2種類。
そうだ。顔面粉砕は、ルドルフ、キリエ、ローザ、ゴーダの4人。側頭部粉砕は、クラウス、シャノンの2人だ。わらわも、あの時点では気まぐれに生み出した2種類の死体であったが、より残忍な死体である前者の方が、わらわにとってむしろ不利であることに気づいたの。
ベアトにとって不利。そうか、そういうことか。
That's right. The smashed faces might look atrocious, but they made it hard to confirm the identity of the person. For example, at that time, Uncle Kraus and Shannon-chan had had their heads only half smashed. That itself was of course atrocious, but because half their faces remained, it was easy to confirm their identity. But Dad and the other 3 were different. Because his face had been completely destroyed, even I, his son, could only guess that it had only have been Dad because of his clothes and the like. In short, it remained unclear until the end whether that really was Dad's corpse.
第1のゲームの時にも、もしも推理バトルが行われてたなら、俺は多分親父たちの死体を本人確認不能のため偽装死体の可能性もあると主張していたかもしれない。何しろあのゲームの時にはベアとは一切赤での発言もしていない。
Well, of course she didn't state shit because we weren't fighting her in episode 1.
それで正解。偽装死はミステリーの基本の一つ。たとえ医者に検証させたとしても、犯人とグルを疑われればその結果は信用できない。つまり確実な死を保証できない死体は常に魔女サイドを不利にするということ。あらゆる死体について偽装死を疑い、その後の事件の犯人に想定することができる。バトラの嫌う手だけど魔女に対する最も初歩的な一
手。ああ、そうだ。だからベアとは赤を使い出した赤き真実で完璧な検証を行うようになったんだ。
そういうことだ。本来ならばこの第1の番の惨劇に対し、わらわはすぐにでも赤き真実にてこの度の6人の死亡を確定させるところである。しかし知っての通り、今回のわらわの戦闘はこれまでとは正反対の赤き真実の放浪攻めといったところ。そなたが反撃の拠り所にしようとする以上、わらわは容易には赤を使わない。必要最低限の赤にたった1箇所だけほころびさせればいい。つまりわらわは究極的に言えば、そなたのあらゆる密室の推理についてあらゆる暴言を許せる。そのうちの一つ、たった1回の赤き真実にて打ち破るだけで良いわけだ。
散々俺をいたぶってきやがったくせに、俺が反撃に使い出したら今度は引っ込めやがったってわけだ。 ふざけやがってよ。
とにかく赤を使いたくない。蹴っちりたい。
Yes, you
バト
do.
ラをいじめてやりたい。
Yup, we know that.
しかし赤を使わずに確実なる死を保証するにはどうすればよいのか。わらわは悩みに悩んだわけだ。
Okay, yes, okay, now I understand it, okay.
実に簡単な方法だったのだ。
当たり前なことを言ったらリーチがひらめいただけよ。私は誰にでも容易に身元の判別と完全なる死が理解できる死体を用意すればいいと言っただけ。
つまりはその2つを合体させたわけ。身元の判別に必要な顔と完全なる死の象徴である魂の器たる頭部の粉砕。
Yes.
この2つを左右ぴったりきれいに合体させたら、あら不思議。この頭部半壊死体がパーフェクトであるという答えが出たわけ。
お前絶対2色パンとか2色アイスが好きだろ。欲張りな子供市民丸出しだぜ。
いずれにせよ、たとえ頭部が半壊していたとしても、現時点では彼らが死んだとみなすべきではない。
That is such a ridiculous thing to say.
分かってる。ベアトがもったいぶって赤での宣言を拒む以上、全ては疑って。
Are you serious? Okay.
もちろんシエスタの太もも姉ちゃんたちの魔法殺人だって鵜呑みになんか絶対しねえぜ。
本当に慎重になったこと。最初のゲームの頃だったなら何でもかんでも鵜呑みにしてくれていたのにね。
好敵手はこうでなくては面白くないというものよ。今は赤がないことをさえ自由な想像を広げ好きに推理を重ねるがいい。一番最後、一番おいしいところ、バッサリと赤き真実にて叩き切ってくれようぞ。
Oh man. Oh man. Hold on. Wait just a second. Silent. Black. Cold. Painful. Rosa regained consciousness bit by bit, and the first thing she thought was that it would have been better if she hadn't. After all, her body was so cold and hurt so much, and it became worse the more her consciousness returned. It felt like she had been sleeping in the darkness for a long time now, face down on ice-cold marble. This is why I always tell myself, even if it's just a nap, at least get on the sofa. I always know that if I naively try and close my eyes for just a second, and end up sleeping on the floor or at my desk, it'll hurt my body later and I'll suffer for it. Because she slept on such a cold and hard floor, she was chilled to the bone. Because she slept on such a hard and cold floor, the side of her face that had been pressing down against it was very painful. If she were to look in a mirror right now, she was sure she would see an Why am I reading so badly? She didn't think that just rubbing it would make that mark disappear, but she stroked the hurting side of her face for the time being, trying to smooth it over. What? We're here? Where is this? Isn't this where Burn and Lamb and everyone is? She thought it was pitch black, but that appeared not to be the case. After all, she could faintly see her own body. Without a doubt, there was some source of light. But even when she looked up at the ceiling, or else the sky, there was only an expanse of blackness, and she couldn't see any such thing. Her body alone was slightly lit, whereas everything else was sunk in darkness. That's what this world was like. It was almost as though Rosa alone had been abandoned in a forgotten world. As her mind grew clearer, she started getting nervous about why she was all alone in a lonely place like this. When she was about to call out, asking if anyone was there, patter, patter, she heard footsteps coming towards her. They were light footsteps, so she thought it was probably a kid. They didn't feel creepy to her, so she wasn't afraid. But they also weren't Maria's footsteps. So, wondering who in the world would be in a darkness like this, she stared in the direction she could hear the footsteps from. As she did, a faint, approaching silhouette came into view. It looked like a child much younger than Maria! No way! Who is that? I didn't know him, but I do. But the expression on his face was like a lost child separated from his parents. As a parent with a daughter myself, I felt as though my chest was being torn apart.
Uryu.
The instant the kid muttered that infantile word, I felt a sharp pain in the half of my face that was aching from the cold floor, as though it had been pierced by a long, thin, hard needles. I reflexively pressed my hand against that side of my face.
大丈夫？まだ痛い？
ありがとう、僕。ここはどこ？すごく寒いわ。
こっちへ来て。ここにいちゃいけない。
He took my other hand and pulled, with a grim expression on his face. I don't have a clue what's going on. However, a single honest expression from a child can often tell the truth better than 100 empty words from an adult. She didn't understand the situation, but even so, Rosa dashed along with him wherever she was pulled. However, this was a world where nothing could be seen in the darkness except for their own forms. She couldn't even really feel whether she was actually moving forward as she ran. Even though I'm running, I can't even feel any wind. It's as though I'm still inside a nightmare, that kind of unreal feeling. So even though I was running, I couldn't maintain my senses of balance, and my legs got tangled and I fell. Even in a world that didn't feel real, the pain of smashing my face against the cold, hard floor was reality itself.
Uryu, 大丈夫？
ごめんなさいね。頭が痛むの。
Then he said that infantile word, Uryu. Pain like being stuck with needles ran through my head again. Even though it had only happened twice, I was somehow able to understand that his word was the cause of my pain. So I said it frankly.
ごめんなさい。その、うりゅうという口癖をやめてもらえる？
うりゅう。
Are you kidding?
ちょっと、やめてって言ってるでしょ。
ごめんなさい。
This time, I got the feeling that his words of apology made me feel a sharp pain in my forehead. What is this child? I know there's no malice in him, but when I'm around him, my head hurts.
大丈夫？早く行こう。ここは行っちゃダメ。
どうしてここにいちゃダメなの？ねえ、ここはどこ？あなたは誰？あなたのママはどこ？
僕を作ってくれたのはママ。
Fuck, I skipped. I know what he said, but I'm saying that I skipped the dialogue. It's always that fucking word. He stared at me with round eyes. This kid's mama is me? Who is he? Who is this kid? I don't remember at all.
僕のこと忘れちゃった。ママが僕を作ったんだよ。
ちょっと冗談はやめて。私の子供はマリアだけよ。そう。マリアはどこ？マリアはどこなの？マリア！
I suddenly grew uneasy about Maria not being there. Why am I alone in a place like this? Where's Maria? Maria being there for me is the only thing that keeps me together.
マリアはいるけど、今はマリアじゃない。今は会わない方がいいの。その方がママのためだし、マリアのためなの。マリアのためにも逃げて。
え？何を言ってるの？マリアはどこ？マリア！返事
をして。
マリアに見つかっちゃう。早くこっちに来て、ママ。
He pulled my hand again. He was probably pulling me in the opposite direction from Maria, so I stopped in my tracks.
話してよ。大体あなたは誰よ。あなたにママなんて言われる覚えはないわよ。
僕を作ってくれたのはママだよ。忘れちゃったの？マリアのバースデープレゼントにするために僕を手作りしてくれたの忘れちゃったの？
あなたまさかマリアの作太郎。
ママに作ってもらったライオンのぬいぐるみだよ。
A fierce, sharp pain struck me. It came from the palm of the hand he was grasping. I instinctively knocked his hand away, and when I looked at my palm, a hole the size of a thumb had opened there, and thick, deep red blood was gushing out. It was a hole so big that I could see through to the other side.
ウリュウ、大丈夫？大丈夫？どうしたの？
Sakotaro also noticed my wound and panicked. Judging by his reaction, he couldn't understand why my hand had sustained a serious injury. But to my eyes, it felt like I had sustained that injury because he had grabbed my hand. Whether there was malice in him or not, I understood that this child was something that would do no harm to me. Wait. I understood that this child was something that would do harm to me, and he instantly became strange and frightening.
あっちへ行って。あなたなんか知らないわ。作太郎は気持ち悪い下手くそなぬいぐるみでしょ。私は知らないわよ。ママなんかじゃないわよ。あっちへ行って消えて。
Slowly, the base of Sakutaro's neck tore in a horizontal line. It gaped open, and pitch blackness inside him peeked out. There was no gushing of blood, only an endlessly empty blackness. And then, from the inside of the gash, cotton snow poured out, and he slumped over, scattering bits of cotton about. All that remained there was crumpled yellow cloth, and bits of cotton that looked like sticky, crushed cotton candy. Oh, again? He just wants to help. A lion stuffed animal. Without a doubt, they were the remains of the Sakutaro stuffed animal I had torn apart on that day, overcome by my emotions. The instant I admitted that, a long, sharp shriek that could rupture an eardrum tore the world apart. Like a flood from a broken dam, or like a broken TV. Maria wailed in a high-pitched voice. Maria's voice, which made the ears throb, brought up two emotions. The first was regret. I let my emotions get the better of me and committed a terrible mistake. A mother's desire to kneel down right away, hold Maria's head, cry with her, and apologize. And in fact, I did that right away. I held Maria's head and apologized in tears for what I had done. But Maria didn't stop crying. On the contrary, she rejected me, the one who had torn her closest friend apart, and pushed me away forcefully with both hands. Since I had been on my knees in an unnatural position, I fell backwards easily. Maria scraped together the yellow scraps of cloth and cotton bits, buried her face in them, and cried even more. Watching that, the other emotion welled up. It welled up rapidly, and then burst. I mean, she won't come around even when I apologize, and there's nothing I can do now anyways, and it's all Maria's fault in the first place. I mean, she can't make any friends because since she's forever taken up with this make-believe stuffed animal thing, and that's why she's treated like a weirdo. And you know, this is a good opportunity for instructive guidance. It's not like I was pampered all the time myself. Things eventually break, are stolen, are broken. Even I had lots of toys and treasures stolen, broken, made fun of, and thrown away by my brothers and sisters and father and mother. But though I might have cried about that, though I might have shed a few tears, not once did I sob like this and trouble my parents. Throw a tantrum, get in a terrible mood, pound and kick the floor, and make a horrible racket. I always wanted to, but I thought I'd get in more trouble if I did, so I always held it in. It's because I held it in that I was able to become the wonderful adult I am now. I'm telling you, man, she just held it all in. Suddenly, I felt something strangely missing. The same feeling as when you use a tool recklessly and it finally breaks so that you're left holding only the base. But I hadn't been using a tool. I had only been using my own 2 hands to hit Maria's head repeatedly. So, I looked at my hands. From my wrists onwards, my hands had snapped off, cracked off, and were gone. As though only those parts of my arms had become ceramic. No, everything beyond my wrists literally had become ceramic at some point and had broken and fallen. Cracks had formed in them because I had hit Maria so much and they had fallen off. Look, see. Aren't those my hands there, lying smashed by my feet? There was no pain, but the shocking sight of both my hands breaking off at the wrists made me scream. Maria? No, didn't she say that she was gonna make her pay?
これでもうマリアを叩けないね。
Ignore. No, so that's why Sakutaro. And it's all because of fucking Rosa's own fault. Ignoring my confusion, Maria said that with a very cold voice, as she slowly moved her hands away from her head, where they had been defending against my barrage.
何よこれ。私の手。何をしたのよマリア。これは何なのよ。何これ。何これ。
A black silhouette was suddenly standing behind Maria. It was the silhouette of an adult. Who? Beatrice, wasn't it? I knew it.
娘の頭を絵本を見た。温かい食事を作ることのできる腕を残してもよいかと。
ママはマリアの頭を撫でるより叩く方が多いよ。絵本なんかめくってくれない。ご飯だって作ってくれない。マリアが自分で買いに行くの。でも同じお店に何度も行っちゃいけないし、顔を覚えられてもいけない。おまわりさんに話しかけてもいけない。なんで？どうして？マリアが悪いの？マリアはママに撫でてもらったり、絵本を読んでもらったり、一緒にご飯を食べたりしちゃいけないの？どうして？どうして？マリア悪くないよ。マリア悪くない。ママが悪い。
She's right.
ママが悪い。ママは一緒に遊んでくれないけど、サク太郎は一緒に遊んでくれた。本も読んでくれた。テレビも見てくれた。一緒にご飯も食べてくれた。ママよりもっともっと大切な友達だったのに。
悪かったと思ってるわ。でも仕方ないでしょ。
I'm pretty sure that's what her family said to her. And so, thinking that's how the world is, she did the same with her kids instead of wanting to improve. You always have to be better than the previous generation.
ママは仕 仕事で忙しいのよ。仕事で。ママの仕事が忙しいのは知ってるでしょ。仕方ないのよ。仕方ない。
そう、これは仕方なき。そなたの娘に傷つき、心を引き裂かれ、涙に血を浮かべることさえ、これをなれば今この場にてこのようなることになるもまた、全ては仕方なきこと。さあマリ、母を名乗った女の言い分は以上だ。許せぬ。否、無罪か、はたまた有罪か。
許せない。ママは有罪だ。作太郎にママがしたのと同じ目に遭わせてやる。ママを首の縫い目のところから引き裂いて中の綿をぶちまけてやる。
Maria's eyes ominously flashed blue. In that instant, invisible, massive arms stuck their fingernails out and grasped Rose's entire body tight. The bones all throughout her body made sounds like twigs being stepped on as they readily cracked and broke. Rosa vaguely understood. The massive arms were probably my own arms from the time I tore Sakutaro apart. From a stuffed animal's perspective, my arms must certainly have been this massive. So I could imagine what would happen next. The sharp nails stuck strongly into the base of my neck, and I heard the skin tearing with my own ears. Then, watched over by the two witches, Rosa's flesh was split in two, top and bottom. When Sakutaro had been torn apart, bits of cotton had flown about like snowflakes. But in Rosa's case, something like thick black tar came out, filthy, flying all over the place. There wasn't even a trace of the red blood. It was something black, filthy, and thick. It was probably what a bloodless, tearless human kept inside their body instead. Wow.
これはすごい。醜い。なんと汚らわしき中身か。見事であったぞマリア。さあどうだ。そなたの復讐は。
I don't think so.
そなたは母を許せる。いいな。
It's obvious she's gonna keep going.
無罪、有罪か。
許せない。まだまだ許せない。
Beatrice brandished her pipe wand, and a surge of gold butterflies regenerated Rose's broken body in an instant.
"一つの命で償えぬほどのそなたの大罪、そして自らの深き罪を思い出す。さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。そなたがどれほどの罪を犯したのか。
もしもし、ママなの？ママは何時に帰ってくるの？ごめんなさい。今日も仕事が忙しくて泊まりになってきた。またお仕事でお泊まり？ママのお仕事、今日も大変だね。
ごめんね、本当に忙しいの。もうずっと会社に缶詰よ。外の空気も吸えやしないわ。ママの仕事は早く終わらすだけじゃダメなの。より良いデザインを上げないと次から仕事をもらえない大変な仕事なのよ。だからどうしても時間がかかっちゃうの。
うん、分かってるよ。マリア、いい子でお留守番してるからお仕事いっぱい頑張って早く終わらせてお家に帰ってきてね。
ママのお仕事を頑張ってくれて、明日おいしいケーキを買って帰ることを約束するわ。
ケーキいらないよ。ケーキ屋さんによって遅くなるよりその分ちょっとでも早くママが帰ってくる方が嬉しい。
How about we come together and then we go buy the cake together?
大丈夫よ。早く帰ってくるわ。約束する。だから美味しいケーキを2人で食べて、美味しい紅茶を2人で飲んで、一緒に新しい絵本を読みましょう。この間買った狼の羊のパズルで遊びましょうね。2人で一緒に。約束よ。
約束待ってるね。お仕事頑張ってねママ。
ほうほう、寂しい話ではあるが互いを思い合う良き親子愛である。何か問題があるというのかマリア、そしてローザ。
その約束は私はちゃんと守ったはずよ。次の日の夕方に約束通りケーキを買っていつもより早い帰宅をしたはずよ。
マリアは知ってたよ。あの日の夕方ね、ママ宛てに着払いの荷物が来たけどお財布の中のお金が足りなかったからママにどうしようって相談したくて会社に電話したの。特別な時以外はかけちゃダメって言われてたけどママのお仕事の大切なものだったら悪いしと思って電話したの。そしたらママはお休みだって言われた。その日はずっと前からお休みに決まってて遠くへ遊びに行っているって言われたの。マリアは知ってたよ。ママが嘘をついてるってずっと知ってた。でもね、サクタロがそうじゃないってマリアを叱ってくれたの。
He always believed in the good
お仕事でとても
of
大変。
people. He always wanted to see good in people.
マリアを放っておいて遊んでるはずなんてないって。
Maybe again, Sakutaro being a figment of her imagination at first. This is what Maria told herself.
ママはお休みって言った人はきっと何か勘違いして言ってしまったんだよって。サクタロがそう言うんだもん。マリアは信じたよ。マリアは信じた。ママ大好き、ママ大好き。もちろんママだってマリアを愛してる、愛してるって。
ええ、私もよ。愛してるわ、マリア。
Rosa let out a deep sigh. Maybe she felt the weight of her words. Then, she set the receiver back on the bedside phone. The dark room made the window's view of the starry sky on the ground stand out even more beautifully. On the table in front of that terrace was a very cold wine cooler, and the one she was enjoying a glass with was gazing at the scene below.
娘さんに旅行って話してないんですか?
Oh wow, so she's over here drinking wine with some guy at a hotel.
行くって言って前にうるさかったんで以来言わないことにしてるんです。
Oh really, that's it? This call it what it is. She's over here fucking every day, getting drunk, having sex with a bunch of random people. Maybe as far as I mean, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. And she tells her daughter that she can't be home. Okay, so this is how Rosa is.
娘さんに気になるなら無理に日程を組まなくてもよかったじゃありませんか。
でもそれじゃいつまで経っても予定が合わないし。
Wow, she must really like that.
それは気にしないでって言ったでしょ。
The slender middle-aged man, clad in a white robe, gave a small sigh. Rosa reacted sensitively to that slight action.
もう娘の話はなしにして。せっかくの上等なワインが台無しよ。
私はあなたに一人の人間としても女性としても魅力を感じています。ですがだからこそこうして時間を割くのは申し訳ないと感じています。
私と娘の事情は気にしないでくださいっていつも言ってるじゃないですか。あなたと二人きりの時に娘の話はしないようにしてるでしょ。電話だって下のロビーでうるさい酔っ払いがバカ笑いしてなければここではかけなかった。
ローザさん、こういう唐突な日程での旅行は娘さんのためにも今後は少し考えませんか。
Wow, so it took a guy like this to say something reasonable?
互いの日程があった時だけでいいじゃありませんか。
それじゃ全然日程が合わないじゃないですか。私はいつだって一緒にいたいのに。
What does this say? Natural? That literally says UMINEKO something.
それは
子供の恋愛の仕方です。大人同士の恋愛はもう少しストイックであるべきですよ。ローザさんと一緒にいられる時間が長く取れないことは僕も寂しいです。ですがその限られた時間と機会で僕たちは十分に大人の恋愛を楽しめていると思いますよ。
それはもっと娘と一緒にいろと、女でなく母でいろということですか？
あなただって望んでいることでしょう。娘さんと一緒にゆっくり過ごしたいとあなただって思っているはずだ。僕は逃げません。僕との時間を優先するために娘さんを犠牲にするのは気の毒だと申し上げたいのです。
奥さんとのより戻したんですか？
Wow. Okay.
別れるのが嫌になったんですね。
妻の話はしたくない。あなたが娘さんの話をしたくないのと同じです。
子連れの女は面倒だって思ったんでしょう。
そんなこと今までに一度も言ったことはありませんよ。
みんな子連れだと分かると手のひらを返す。あの子の養育費は気にしなくていいからと言ってもみんな手のひらを返す。あなたは娘のことを理解してくれてると思ったのに、やっぱり子連れだと嫌なんですね。
そうは言っていません。ローザさんのことを嫌いになってなどいませんよ。私が言いたいのは娘さんをもっと大事にしなさい。あなた自身もそれを望んでいるはずだ。だから娘さんに嘘をついて自らを傷つけてほしくない。そう言ってるだけなんです。
嘘つき！私のことが面倒になっただけ。そうでしょ？
そんなことは言っていない。
いいえ、わかるの。私にはわかるわ。あの子を理由に何度も捨てられた私だからわかるの。雰囲気でわかるわ。そうよ、あなたもそう。他の男たちと一緒。子連れの女は嫌なのよ。バツイチは嫌なのよ。面倒なのよ。知らない男と作った子供の親になんかなりたくないんでしょ？ええ、そうよね。その気持ちすっごいわかるわ。子連れの男と付き合ったことがあるけど、その気持ちすっごいわかったの。
Okay.
だから娘を理解してくれるあなたとなら一緒になれるって信じたのに。
Okay, let me read this again. I once went out with with children, and I absolutely understood that feeling. That's why I
そうよ、あんたなんて邪魔だったのよ。あんたさえいなければ私はとっくに女としての幸せをつかめたのよ。あんたの存在が私の幸せをいつも邪魔するのよ。私だってあんたなんか産みたくなかった。
Oh my god.
いいえ、違うわ。あんたと一緒に幸せな家庭を築けたらと思ったわよ。でもあんたが生まれる直前にあいつは蒸発
Okay, this is what I was wondering. Finally, I get something answered.
私と温かい家庭を築くと言って私を騙し、永遠に私の前から消え去ったわ。残ったのはあんただけ。愛も思い出も何もない。あの男は今どこへ？私との日々を温かな思い出に勝手に変えて新しい恋人に出会ったかもしれない。そして今度こそ幸せな家庭を築けたかもしれない。そして私はあんたがいる。恋も探せない。男は好きに女を渡り歩いて武勇伝気取り。なのに女には、私にはあんたがいる。あんたという重しがいるのよ。あんたのせいで私は恋を探せない。愛が得られない。一人で生きていくしかない。いいえ、それさえも許されてないわ。私には一人で酔いつぶれたい夜さえ許されていない。あんたは誰？何者？
Girl, I'm sorry, but you were dealt a bad hand with that fucker doing that to you. He's a scumbag, but still. You got someone you have to raise.
私の人生を台無しにして、私の新しい人生さえ許してくれないあんたは、私の人生の何者なのよ。
Oh, come on, Rosa. It's not her fucking fault.
死ね。
She didn't choose to be born.
あんたなんか生まれてきた時から大嫌い。あんたがお腹の中にいた頃から大嫌いだった。
Oh God, you know that's not the truth. Come
それ
on.
を前向きに受け入れようと頑張って良き母を演じてきたわ。私は頑張った。
You did your best. Are you, man? Is she like one of those fucking parents who like think they do the bare fucking minimum and they're like, hey, I did everything I could. Yeah, sure you did.
同世代の女性たちが独身を謳歌し、時に恋に遊び、あるいは愛に結ばれるのを横目に見ながら、私は女と母の二足のわらじを履き続けたわ。その私の苦労を誰がねぎらったの？誰も褒めない、称えない。自業自得、気持ちは嫌。負け組の遠吠え、無な小娘がいい？こっちから願い下げよう。ケツの青い若造どもが。必死だった私はさぞかし簡単に落ちる女に見えたろうさ。必死だったわよ。まだまだ恋をしたい年頃の私が日々を仕事と育児で忙殺されていき、このまま老いてこのまま人生を終えるだろうと悟った時、どれほど必死だったか想像もつかないでしょうよ。あんたの本当の父親ももちろん憎いわよ。でも破局を迎えた責任は私と彼に半々だわ。私にも逃げられるだけのしつこさがあったのかもしれない。でも
Yes, why did he run away?
その後の破局は全部あんたのせい。私はあんたにそれをなじったことはあったないでしょ。男に逃げられて酔いつぶれたいその次の日があんたの授業参加。泣き晴らした目を厚化粧でごまかして、あんたが的外れな発言をしてクラス中から失笑されてた時の私の気持ちなんてあんたどころか世界中の誰にもわからないでしょうよ。あんたが嫌い、大嫌い。
Oh jeez, fuck man, it's all fucking coming out.
そしてこれまでにあんたを本当に愛したことなんて
I don't think
ただの一度もない。
Okay, she finally let it all out, at least. Maria's face was frozen. I fucking bet it was. I don't think Maria just walk away at this point. How tortured she is from everything. If words really were blades, Maria's whole body would probably have been stained red with fresh blood by now. I don't think there would be a chunk of meat on her bones if words were blades. Even after gaining the power of a witch and resolving herself to take revenge for Sakutaro, she couldn't stand these curses coming out of her mother's mouth. It's Rosa's own fucking thought process that's making it this fucking painful.
情欲に溺れた女のなんと醜きことか。これがこの女の本性。邪悪を極めし千年の魔女のわらわと見るに耐えぬことこの上なし。ああマリアよ、今こそ決別の時。そなたの母を名乗った醜き肉の塊を打ち砕け。そなたの無垢なる魂が親子なる鎖にてこれ以上束縛される意味はなし。自らの魂を自らの手で今こそ解放せよ。そなたは自らを守る牙と爪を今こそ手に入れたのだ。
Oh my god, look at my girl. What did she do to deserve all this? Oh wait, we just found out what she did. She was born. She got in the way, supposedly. Because fucking Rosa getting with the guy and then the guy leaving, and then from that one fucking thing, her entire life was just hell apparently. She couldn't get with anyone because fucking Maria was in the way. She was a single mother and she couldn't find a guy. What a bitch.
マリアを苦しめてきた日々を今こそ思い知らせてやる。苦しみの日々を今こそ復讐してやる。
Listen, this pain, it is just ugly. It is just ugly, like how Beatrice said. It is fucking ugly. And it has no reason. It was born out of I guarantee you Rosa fucking hates herself. I know she does. There's no fucking way anyone could think like this. She wants instant gratification. She wants her problems to just snap away like that. She wants a fucking knight in shining armor to just come. Oh my god.
その私を苦しめてきたのはあんたじゃない。私が復讐したいくらいよ。あんたが生まれる前にそうすればよかった。あんたなんか生まなければよかった。消えてしまえ。うわ
She's just so fucking angry at the world, at life. She's so pissed at everything. As Rosa howled, her upper body was crushed in a way that could only be described by the word splat. And in an instant, was turned into something similar to a wrung, blood-stained towel.
潰れてしまえ。許せない。許せない。
And even though everything from Rosa's waist downward was upright and as normal, the upper half of her body was crushed. The extreme difference was altogether bizarre. Then she fell over, but her body was regenerated the instant she fell. Maria's howl was colored by the ugly sound of flesh and bone being simultaneously crushed. As Rosa, who had foully insulted Maria, lay spread-eagled. A neat, perfectly circular area of her chest was squashed into a pulp, as though it had been trampled by an invisible elephant. Her heart and her lungs and her ribs were trampled so mercilessly that they were completely indistinguishable. That might have symbolized the pain in Maria's heart up until today. Can you listen to the fucking the intense hatred that there's such an intense feeling to her right now, to her voice, to what she's saying, and I'm fucking relating to that. I know how she's feeling. Beata waved her wand. Her body was regenerated again. And Rosa sat up, coughing violently in pain. And once again, she spat out curses, rejecting Maria. Oh, bitch. Who cares what others think? If you're gonna live your life worrying about what others think, and stop doing what makes you happy, what you like, just because another fucking dickhead said, hey, I don't like that shit, I think that's fucking weird. You're a fucking pathetic son of a bitch. You'll never find fucking happiness like that. Maria screamed. Was she unable to bear her anger and sadness? Or else, was she taken over by an indescribable emotion? It was surely a cry of hopelessness. And yet, this was the reality that had to be accepted. Even Maria knew. She had known that she was thought of as a nuisance. But even though she knew it, she did not believe it. She believed that she was loved by her mother, and all the various events that should have made her doubt this. She did her utmost to interpret in a positive light, trusting and clinging to her mother's love. But she had no one except her mama. Despite all this, she really did love her mama, and wanted to return to the days when she could still believe that her mama loved her too. So she howled. She brought everything to nothing. She would not accept it. She denied it. She denied the Black Witch making her mother say such things, and the part of herself that couldn't forgive that mother. But she couldn't deny it. This was reality, fact, truth, the answer. Unmistakable, absolute reality. Maria turned Rosa into a lump of meat over and over. In the dark world that reflected her heart, over and over, it echoed. That ugly sound which would make one want to cover their ears, of flesh and bone being torn apart. Each time, Beatrice revived Rosa. She dragged her back into the world of endless torture, from which even death was no escape. This was the true, deepest hell that the endless witch Beatrice could create. However, this world was not made endless by Beatrice's will, because every time Rosa turned into a lump of meat, Beatrice asked the same question of Maria. Dude, it's her own fault. Look at what her actions caused. To hurt a kid in this way, in any fucking way. It's probably because they're a kid and they can't fight back. They don't really fucking care about the pain, the torture that they're putting them through. They can't really appreciate the fucking pain that they're putting them through. And it's only until they can fight back that they fucking regret it. Well, right here, fucking Rosa's not giving a shit, even if she is getting fucking tortured. She's still a bitch till the very end. And to think I fucking liked her at the beginning, and even after finally knowing what she was doing, I kind of gave her the benefit of the doubt, and now she's doing this shit. Even in death, even dying however fucking many times, this bitch, she's still acting like she has every fucking right to be mad at Maria just because she got fucked over a little bit in life and wanted, yes, she wanted to find love, but dude, love isn't gonna come like that. It'll, oh fuck. You hate yourself, you don't hate her. That's not true. That's a pathetic thing to say. You just hate yourself. Again and again she revived her. Again and again she returned her to a lump of meat. In all kinds of ways, she crushed her, smashed her, beat her, and tore her to bits. Flying blood splattered and flesh, not fresh, had by now turned the once pitch black world into a mix of red and black. Maria's anger was still not settling down. It was as though she was disgorging all of the rage she had suppressed from the time of her birth until now. Of course! If all that was poison to her heart, then would the repeated murder of her mother purify her soul? Could these pointless atrocities save her soul even just a little bit? And to think Sakutaro, the thing she created and killed, the thing that held all the fucking love and appreciation, the thing that Sakutaro making up all these excuses for Rosa being such a fucking absolute shit, disgusting, worthless, what's the fucking word? Absolute shit ass, piece of shit, worthless, scumbag, cockroach, no fucking worth ass, deadbeat mother. He still came up with excuses for her. And at the very end, she still threw him away. And now this is her fucking suffering the consequences of her entire life being that fucking horrible, poisoned fucking person. I'm figuring it out. This endless torture might have started serving as a slight diversion from her sad, unrewarded life. After all, it seemed that she had finally been able to regain her smile. Rosa? Oh, Maria. Look at what she just turned her into. Half of her skull collapsed. Eyeballs flew out, and black cranial fluid gushed. Fragments of teeth scattered. Her whole chest, along with her ribs, turned inside out, spewing her filthy innards everywhere around her. All of them withered, looking like some kind of foul creature. Rosa couldn't let out a laugh anymore, but her face was laughing. It was covered with a twisted laugh which was filled with a malice that rejected her unwanted daughter. I erased that laughing voice. Next, I'll erase that laughing face. I'll erase it, I'll crush it, I'll tear it to bits.
そなたは今母と遊んでいるのだ。じゃれているのだ。
She really is.
今の感情は怒りでも悲しみでも苦しみでもない。
そうだね。わかるよベアトリーチェ。私は今すっごく楽しいよ。ママと遊んでるんだもん。すっごく楽しい。そしてママを何度も何度も殺しているのに魔法一つで好きなだけ生き返らせられる。おもちゃは壊したら直せないから大事にした。でも治るおもちゃなら何度でも壊したい。
Oh fuck.
でもサクタロは治らないんだね。治せないんだね。作ったママが産んだママが認めないから。 私もママに認められてないんだね。だから壊れたマリアももう治らないんだね。楽しいな。楽しいよママ。こんなにも楽しくなったらなぜかママが許せる気がしてきたの。ねえベアと、これはとっても不思議な感情。どうしてマリアはママを許せる気持ちになってきたの？
それ生き死にを自由にできる力を得た魔女のみがたどり着く。いつも殺す。必要なら蘇らせ、面倒ならまた殺せばいい。それをいつでも指一本鳴らすだけでできることを知ったなら、人の世のざれ言などその全ては聞き流すに等しい虫の声いいかよ。そなたに母を許そうという感情が芽生えた。そなたが今から真の魔女の世界の入り口に立ったから。ようこそマリア。深淵の、そして甘美なる魔女の世界へ。
なったんだ。マリアはもうマリアじゃない。まだ見習いかもしれないけれど、人間の世界を超えた。私はもう原初の魔女見習いマリアなんだ。もう私は何も悔しくない、悲しくない。ママ、許してあげるよ。きっと私はママを許せる。もうちょっとしたら許せると思うの。だって魔女だから。
That fucking mouth. Maria probably would forgive her mother eventually, after brutally murdering her countless times, generously. Holy fuck. Oh god.
でけえな、今の落雷は。
Oh, we're back with my boy.
近いんじゃねえか？
みたいだね。いくつになっても落雷にはビクッとさせられるね。
Battler was looking at the dark night through a crack in the curtains. Every once in a while, a pale white lightning bolt would light up the sky, and he seemed to be enjoying it. Oh, Maria.
お？なんだよ。バトラが騒がしくしてるからマリアが起きちゃったじゃねえか。ごめんなマリア。バトラが騒がしくて。
なんだよ、俺のせいかよ。悪いなマリア。寝てていいぞ。おやすみな。
Maria was looking a bit hazy, with drowsy eyes. She was probably still half asleep and couldn't think straight.
もういい。寝ない。
いいから寝てろって。
You woke her
まだ
up.
寝ぼけてるぜ。
I got a feeling she's gonna say something mean.
寝ぼけてない。
なんだよ、もろに寝ぼけてるじゃねえか。寝てろ寝てろい。
寝ぼけてない。寝ぼけてない。
よせってバカバトラ。もう寝起きのこの機嫌を悪くするなんてバカだな。
寝ぼけてない。寝ぼけてないもん。
わかってるよ、マリアちゃん。寝ぼけてなんかないよ。だから落ち着いて。
寝ぼけてないもん。寝ぼけてないもん。
Maybe it was because of her dubious mental state after waking up, but Maria suddenly threw a tantrum. In Battler's mind, he had only been teasing her a little bit, so he was taken aback by this extreme overreaction. George hugged her and held her head, trying to calm her down, but Maria's tantrum wasn't quelled easily. Battler and Jessica were trying to push the blame on each other, saying it's your fault too.
ほら、二人とも静かにして。ジェシカちゃん、ポットにまだお湯があったよね。お茶でも入れてあげてくれる？落ち着いた？マリアちゃん。
It looked like her tantrum was dying down bit by bit, but she was still glaring at Battler, who had made fun of her with sharp
バトラ
eyes.
君もふざけて言っただけなんだよ。マリアちゃんが寝ぼけてるなんて思ってないよ。だから落ち着いて。
Did he just light the fuse again? George noticed. Maria was staring at Battler with incredible eyes. And despite having just displayed all that emotion, she laughed in a small voice. What is that supposed to mean? Instead of a laugh, it seemed more like she was muttering while savoring, or else counting each he. As though each time she said he, she was making something brutal happen over and over. George felt something creepy for a split second, but he wasn't able to notice the madness that, for a brief moment, peeked out of the depths of the girl's eyes. After remaining spaced out for a short period of time, Maria stopped her bizarre quiet laugh and pushed George's arm aside, as though telling him to let go.
そう。マリアちゃんは偉いな。バトラ君、マリアちゃんが許してくれたよ。仲直りして。
ああ、悪いな、からかって。
My boy Battler! What is she getting at? What's up with her?
マリア、仲直りの印にカフェオレ作ってやったぜ。
Is she gonna throw it on him?
砂糖いっぱい入ってるから甘いぜ。
いらない。でも許すよ。魔女だからね。
One more time, Maria laughed in a creepy, quiet voice. It was only for a very short time, so Battler and Jessica didn't think much of it. They decided to think that probably it had only looked that way for an instant when a flash of lightning had lit up her cheek with a pale white light. Then they heard the sound of a loud and hasty footsteps rushing towards them from the hall. It was already about 10:30 at night, a time that could safely be called late at night. Hearing footsteps like that at this time was not very peaceful. Then, along with a clearly disquieting and wild series of knocks, they heard Goda's and Kumasawa's voices. That clearly told them that this was an abnormal situation.
いらっしゃいますか？いらっしゃいますか？ゴーダでございます。
熊沢でございますよ。ご無事でございますか？どうしたものやら、どうしたものやら。
When George opened the door, the two of them tumbled in, sopping wet. It looked like they had dashed here from the mansion without an umbrella.
どうしたんだよ、二人とも。何があったんだ？
それが、親方様が、旦那様が、皆様方が。
That was kind of a weird way to put that song at the literally as the clock showed up. Man, that was fucking long, bitch. I just spent 3 hours playing this. Oh man, what is gonna happen next? Again, man, Maria and Rosa, dude, Rosa, she just had to get her act together. I understand what she's saying, not kind of. I understand what she's saying. I would imagine it would be difficult for someone who's already a parent to find love from someone else right after their partner dies or leaves them or whatever the fuck they leave them, whatever the situation is. I imagine it's hard to find a spouse while you have a child, but holding resentment towards anyone, even to yourself, that is gonna do nothing but make your life situation, your kid's life situation, the potential partner that you want to have, that is gonna ruin just everything. There's no place for emotions like that. It's just gonna fuck up everything, and that's exactly what happened here with Rosa. Not just that, but I'm imagining again all the bullying she went as a kid and how her siblings and her dad, they just what's the word I'm looking for? Disparage and dismissed. They like she doesn't even matter. They just like like whatever. Again, like how don't you notice again how Ava always references her, and Rudolph to an extent as well. Not as bad as Ava, but Rudolph as well a little bit, and even Kraus. How they all just be like, "Oh right, Rosa," when they want to force her to agree with them, so that they have in a way more numbers on their side. They just see her as that, just someone to help them out, to you know, someone who they can call on at their convenience. Like again, it is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And there's a lot of problems this fucking family needs to work through. Holy shit. Is that why they keep getting killed over and over again? Are they all supposed to learn a lesson? Maybe that's the ending of UMINEKO. I don't know. I'm gonna have to end it right here.